Good morning. Roll call. Here.
Commissioner Morales.
Here.
Commissioner Alonso Carmona.
Here.
Commissioner Luis Salamanca. Here. Commissioner Bradley. All present.
We do have a quorum. 1.3, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag, pledge allegiance to Texas, one state of God, one indivisible. Testimony of the presenters. One point five public comments. No public. 1.6, approval of regular meeting, April 28, 2025.
Subject to route direction. So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have a motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Noguera. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.1, approval of bonds.
No bonds.
We have no bonds. 3.2, discussion and appropriate action requesting permission to use the Bowman Field 4 to 5 weeks for summer flag football from the Dimmit County Youth Football Foundation.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Came to ask, last year, you guys helped me out with being able to get the Bowman Field for summer flag football, keep the youth kind of active over the summer. We had like great success with it for that month and a half that we had it out there. I was hoping to do the same thing this summer, so that's what I'm here for, to request permission to use it again for the next 4 to 5 weeks, probably the month of June into the month of July.
Any questions?
Motion.
Go ahead, Commissioner Noguera.
I spoke to Mr. Briseño and had also advised him that we had fixed the football field in Ashton, football field, but of course it doesn't have a concession stand, so that's what he said, we need more the Bowman since it has, that's what we'll work on, getting a concession stand out there as well, because we already got the bleachers to set up out there and then the baseball field too. Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Odena, second by Commissioner Noguera. Discussion.
I believe last year we did a one-time fee,
Yes, sir.
just for clarification,
Yes, sir.
and then I think I
It
fixed
was
it.
a one,
Yes.
it was 150.
Okay, we'll do this.
Okay, appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
This one.
June and July, correct? June and July.
Yes, so it'll be for the entire month of June and probably like a week into July.
We practice the one in Ashton.
Okay,
There's
yes,
no light, but it's on during
it'll be during the light. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Briseño.
thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. .3, discussion and appropriate action, approval of Community Council of South Central Texas Proclamation Community Action Month. Whereas the Community Council of South Central Texas was established as a community action agency on May 11, 1965, and whereas the service area encompasses the greater South Central and West Texas counties of Atascosa, Bandera, Bee, Brewster, Comal, Crane, Culberson, Dimmit, Edwards, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Hudspeth, Jeff Davis, Carnes, Kendall, Kirk, Kenny, LaSalle, Livoque, Maverick, Mullen, Medina, Pecos, Presidio, Real, Terrell, Uvalde, and Valverde, Wilson, Zavala. And whereas the Community Council of South Central is celebrating 60 years of innovation, impact, and proven results for Texans in Greater South Central and West Texas, and whereas Community Action has made essential contributions to individuals and families across this nation by creating economic opportunities and strengthening communities, and whereas Community Action is a robust state and local force connecting people to life-changing services and creating pathways to prosperity in 99% of all American counties. And whereas the Community Action is a robust state and local force connecting people to life-changing services and creating pathways to prosperity in 99% of all American counties. And whereas Community Action builds and promotes economic stability as an essential aspect of enabling and enhancing stronger communities and stable homes. And whereas Community Action strategies and innovative solutions evolve as the needs of individuals, families, communities, cities, suburbs, and rural areas change. And whereas Community Action is experienced in advancing opportunities by coordinating federal, state, local, and private resources to achieve results for community and people. And whereas Community Action insists on community participation and involvement, ensuring that all sectors of the community have a voice and will be heard. Now, therefore, I, Judge Martha Ponce of Dimmit County, Texas, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Community Action Month in recognition of the hard work and dedication of all community agencies. In testimony whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause to be affixed the Greater Seal of Dimmit County on this 12th day of May 2025.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.4, discussion and appropriate action. Discussion on submitted resale bids and potential properties identified for redevelopment under Texas Tax Code Section 34.051, which allows taxing entities to resell property held in trust, requesting Commissioners Court support and continuing to evaluate and release appropriate parcels to support NHS mission of providing safe and affordable housing for low-income families across Dimmit County.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning.
So as we look at 3.4, I just gave this one. This is just going to be a brief overview of what, I know I've been coming up here previously trying to work with the county about acquiring properties that are tax delinquent so we can repurpose it and build low-income homes. As I was working with Purdue and Brandon and Mr. Arce, that there was a law that came, that I discovered, 34051. I'm just giving you the information. I believe I gave you all the law. All it is making sure we establishing NHS as, because we are a community development center. I'm gonna be working with other like local municipalities, because I believe he said the cities are the ones that are the main drivers. But once I'm established as the entity to, excuse me, to acquire some of these properties, then I'll be coming back here again, and then once we, if there's some that we want to look at acquiring and build, then I believe you, Judge and the Commissioners, will just be able to vote and give it to us directly without going through auction. Because you will be hearing our name. We've already submitted some tax resale bids that he'll be presenting later on today, but this is just establishing this, because we're trying to do the land bank, but there are different ways to go about acquiring these lands to repurpose it for low-income homes. Did I explain it correctly?
I'll wait to see if they want me to chime in on anything.
Questions?
I have a question. My concern at this point, obviously this is something that I have never been involved in the past since I'm one of the newer commissioners, but I would like to do a little research on the legality side of what because this property obviously it's under the control of the county at this point. And the way I understand, and going through our audit process, even anything that belongs to the county, we cannot just
Give it away.
give it away in any shape or form where the word free comes into effect. So at that point, I just want to make it clear that's my where I stand. I'd like to do a little research on my end and probably just protect Commissioners Court as a whole, but I'm sure the judge will be doing the same, but that's one of the things that I'd probably be looking to.
And another question is, being that it's not only Dimmit County's property, I'm pretty sure there's taxing from the school, and so we, as Commissioner mentioned, we like to see what status is, also the discussion on those taxes, because not only are we gonna make a decision that we're gonna give it away or not give it away, but issue it out for the low income, but what is the taxes, the other taxing entities regarding this opinion?
Yeah.
Because if it has to do with a majority vote, or, just get a consensus of what's going on. This is the first time I deal with something like this also, since I've been here. So I would like to get a little bit more information.
Mr. Arce, your comments?
Yes, Judge. So for 3405-1, this is really, this provision, should NHS go through this route, is going to really put the city in the driver's seat. So they will then, and you will work in conjunction with the city and any other cities to have interlocals set up with the county and all the other entities, including the school. At that point, if it's blessed, if this new system is basically blessed by all of the entities, then it leaves the city in the driver's seat to vote to decide, at least for the properties in their city limits, as to whether or not to go ahead and transfer it off. So this is gonna basically take you guys, should you agree to the interlocal agreement, out of that process and let the city just stay in the driver's seat and to determine how they are gonna wanna coordinate with NHS on the properties.
So we're just the passengers, essentially.
And it's not gonna be free from my
One
understanding.
minute, Mr. Coates. Mr. Arce, my other question to you is in regards to what does that do to the layman person, the rest of the people in the community that want to have access to bid on these properties? Does NHS get priority if this agreement comes into place? Like, if the city decides we're gonna just give our business to Mr. Coates and his team, where does that leave the general population in regards to trying to submit bids for properties?
That's a really good question. It basically creates now two different paths. And so everyone can still use the same one that has been going on for eons. This one just creates a more streamlined path with the idea that if this is something that goes with the idea of affordable housing within city limits, to say, hey, we want to coordinate. That doesn't mean to say that any one particular constituent, should NHS move on a series of properties and another constituent be interested in the property, they could speak public comments and say, hey, I'm actually interested. Can this go through the other process and let the highest bidder win? And so that would be an avenue, but that could be a potential concern.
But I think that's the reason why they set up this law, is for CDCs to have the right of first refusal. Because like right now, we're already working with Big Wheels. We are gonna be getting 3 properties from Big Wheels. We're not trying to, I promise you, we're not trying to take everything.
No, and I totally understand. I understand what you're doing, and to some extent, I give you credit where credit must be due, and that your purpose and the principle of what your organization is standing for is trying to get homes in a situation to where they can be livable and you can provide low, funding for them, low cost funding. So I understand what you're trying to do. I'm just inquiring in regards to how does that affect the general population if based on the way I read this tax code and the law is that you guys, like you said, you get preferential first of right of refusal and you get to go first. And so I think what you're doing is a great thing, because I think that having low income housing is a beneficial to people, but at the same time for the other people that want to have be able to bid this kind of deters from that situation.
And I believe the law is, if I'm not mistaken, it has to be over, the properties have to be on the books for over 5 years. So at that point in time, it's like, what do we, because the properties that I've been looking at has been sitting on the books 10 or 20 years. So those are the ones that we, and I believe the law is looking at, because they want, if they're that old, I don't believe they're showing up on the regular tax auction anyway for, I think you've already removed them. And then that's when Purdue and Brandon are holding on to them.
There's still the regular process, you know, the first sale, and then there's a strike off. We've coordinated with the court to, you know, you guys have told us in multiple instances, hey, go ahead, y'all are clear to go ahead and try to do a fire sale, basically. You know, what we're doing today, set it for sale, for public sale again, at a lower amount than that first sale. And we have some people show up, they still don't bid. So, I mean, the public will still have the opportunity to bid, especially at the first sale. And as you mentioned, you know, down the line, you know, it'll put them in a position. Ultimately, as mentioned, he's just kind of bringing this to y'all's attention, that to start thinking about it, he's got to talk to the city, because he's got to convince the city first this is going to work. Then the city's got to move and say, okay, hey, county, hey, school, hey, we think we want to partner with NHS on this, we think this is valuable. And at that point, let the elected officials all work together to figure out if this is going to be something that works for the community.
Is there something that says that it's been on the list for 5 years? I don't know. Are you getting produced?
Usually when I get the, I go to Purdue's website and then I pull the actual tax list, I can see.
But is there something on
In the law,
the law?
I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll give you, like I said, I'm just giving you the information.
I don't see nothing here. It just says
I
it's
didn't
been
give,
5 years.
I give you time to do the research. I believe the actual, I should have gave you the actual tax code. I believe it does say in the, I gave you a brief summary.
With all due respect, you're giving us one text code and then now you're bringing it up, which is confusing.
No, it's in the text. I just gave you
No,
a
I
brief summary.
understand, but
'cause I
you're
didn't-
telling us something right now that's not on the,
I should
on
have
the
put that.
paperwork.
That's my fault.
And now you're telling us it's not the tax code, it's 5 years, but we don't see it here, so it's just something that I'm looking at that we want to know that for sure it exists.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, I'd be more comfortable on my part if you would address the city and the school entities first.
I will.
And have their opinion, and I'll be honest with you, because I feel that at this point, I'm just gonna be blunt about it. I feel like we're being somewhat, not directly lured, but directed in a certain way to take action or show some type of, any type of support towards it. For example, so you can, at that point, you would approach the city and say, look, the county is all for it. You know, I'd rather turn the table around and you have the city and the school district approve it first, and then it gives us something to look at as a community of how we can come in.
So when me and Mr. Arce talked, he told me all of this is gonna be a lot of footwork if I wanted to get this set up. And I figured since I was here today, I told him I didn't have a problem doing it. You see, y'all see me down here advocating for this a lot. I figured since I was down here for for 3.5, I just wanted to bring this to your attention as well, that this is something that I'm going to be working on and putting in place. So I will, just like when I did with the land bank, then I went to the city and got them to give me a letter of commitment, and then I came back here and explained. So I just want to I want to have an open communication, make sure everybody understands that this is what our purpose is, this is why I'm doing it, and I want everybody to see just how passionate I am. I will be going to all the entities involved to try to set this up. So I'm not trying to bully you or anything, I just want to make sure I just keep everybody informed.
We
May I?
appreciate it.
Yes, did you ever get the letter of support from this court?
I have not received it as of today.
Okay, because to my understanding, what I understood when you first came, when we came several times before, and I know a lot of times we say we'll table and go back and do research. Try to help me understand why we're here right now. So the properties that you're after are properties that are already listed past 5-10 years that nobody's been bidding on, correct? So then it would help. So then it would also help lessen your workload
to be able to allow NHS to purchase those properties, to rebuild them, and then sell them to the lower income.
Yeah, I mean, getting them, presenting it for you all, going through, absolutely, I think it's a great partnership. It's a good thing to do, to be able to go through. I do like, having the county involved with the process, and being able to answer any questions, concerns, because y'all are out there, and getting in the mix. And of course, this provision is only as to what's in the municipalities. Anything outside, and there's a lot outside of city limits, aren't going to be involved in this. That's even assuming all this goes through, and he's able to do all the footwork to get it, make it happen. So, but there's this great system, and we can definitely work the idea of what I have set in place, because I know he's trying to move fast, and I want to present it to you guys. Is to say, okay, hey, let's put these up for public sale. These are going to be later items. Put them up for public sales so that we can take their bid, and whatever that amount is, consider that as the first firing shot, the first bid. We will accept it as a starting bid, and if nobody else pipes up, at least I feel like that kind of weighs, it gives everybody a fair shot of saying, hey, if I'm interested in that property, it's going to get posted in the newspaper. I can go to the courthouse and I can bid against NHS if I want to. And that puts everybody in equal footing. It gives everybody equal notice, and we'll have it on here.
So then your only entry is the process of how we're able to accomplish this.
Yeah, and that is completely the purview of the elected officials. We'll make sure if it's something that the city ends up wanting to do, just to address any concerns regarding, liabilities and the proper process of conveying over property out from the county. We can put together a legal brief just to, make sure that there are no remaining concerns on the process. But however the city and the counties want to do it, I think we've got a great system now. That might be a better system. I don't know, but it's worth a discussion, certainly, I think.
Okay, so you're just trying to bring us up to speed on the process that you're going to be taking, I guess, as per this law. So it's going to put the city in the driver's seat. So then I do agree with Commissioner Uranda. It would be a good idea to ask the other boards first, just because I would think that they're more invested, especially it being within the city limits, what goes on pertains into the city limits. But I do hope to continue to work with you, and if anybody doesn't know, he's more than willing to meet with anybody to discuss or to help get anybody up to speed. He is always in the area. I have seen him very active in Bidwell, so please take the opportunity to have a few words with him afterwards. I'm pretty sure he'll be more than willing to lend some time because he is very passionate about the cause. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a good thing for Dimmit County, because I firsthand see first home buyers that want to go out and want to purchase something, and it makes it hard and difficult for them. So I think that I'm glad that we're on the same page with both of y'all's organizations. So there's no action. So we're going to motion to table.
I think it was more of an informational item, right, Mr. Cruz?
Yeah, I didn't know how to address it, but yes. Can I start talking about 3.5?
Amen.
3.5, discussion and appropriate action approval of $15,000 contribution from Dimmit County to support and expand the scope of Neighborhood Housing Services of Dimmit County, Inc. TFF grant application. This county contribution will serve as a match to TSHC's grant and allow NHS to address a greater number of home repairs and accessibility projects. Action requested includes authorization of the $15,000 contribution and issuance letter of support to accompany the grant application. Neighborhood Services of Dimmit County, Inc.
So this is the second part of me being passionate about what we're doing. NHS, we used to be in the position where we were also not only building homes, but we was actually offering the ability to repair homes as well. There is a grant from the Texas Foundations Fund through the Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation. Because we are only a Tier 1 organization with our budget being below $2 million, we're only able to apply for a grant of $10,000. And we're gonna be focusing on households that are earning 50% of the area median income, with the priority given to elderly residents, individuals with disabilities, and families living in the colonias. All repair services are provided free of charge to eligible homeowners. I've received, since I've been working with Mr. Estrada, I've been receiving numerous phone calls from individuals in the county trying to see if we can help, and we weren't in the position because we didn't have money set aside. What this will do will actually be able to help those individuals. I have partnered up with Community in Action, and I did send some people over there, but if they've exhausted their eligibility, then the other option is our partnership with USDA Rural, but they have to take a loan out. It may be a 1% loan, but if you're already at or below the median income for poverty, you can't afford that. So that's what this grant is going to be looking towards. We're going to try to provide $2,500 worth of repairs. So if you allow $15,000 to be contributed with the $10,000 grant, if we're awarded, that will give us $2,500, and we'll be able to serve 10 homes in this community. We are going to be looking to partner up also with local contractors and volunteers, try to get material donations from Lowe's, McCoy's, or Habitat Restore. And we're going to be targeting the high need areas. And we definitely will be maintaining a cost tracking and contingency per home for expenses. So I please respectfully request $15,000 contribution from Dimmit County to expand the reach of our TFF funded home repair program. In addition, we request a letter of support to accompany the grant. The grant due date is August 1st. So this is just, if we get awarded, could we please have $15,000 to contribute to the grant?
The grant that you're applying for is in the amount of $10,000?
Yes.
And you're asking the county to match $15,000, correct?
Yes.
So today, and I'll give the floor to the commissioners here momentarily, but today, legally, I don't think we can make that decision because the budget has been set already, and there hasn't been any line item approved through the budget to allow for a match for this particular line item. We would have to do a budget amendment because you're asking for it to be matched before August 1st, correct?
Yes, but at minimum a letter, because then of course the funds won't be, if we get awarded the grant, then the funds won't be distributed until after August.
So like,
I had a question, but I had a question for Susan.
and this houses we're looking at are the ones that are gonna be out in the county.
For Susan.
It's gonna be throughout the entire county, so once,
No, it's, what I'm asking is county, outside the city limits.
it's gonna be the entire Dimmit County, city and. yes.
Well, see, that's one of the issues that we have. You say, and we've gone through this before, now I can tell you that we've done it before. Most of the time, and I don't have nothing against any city entity, but most of the time the county is left out for houses like this, or for repairs. They select how many houses by a scoring system, but yet I haven't heard a house being repaired or assisted in the county. Mostly it's taken within the cities. So if we give you however the process goes with the 15,000, what's it gonna do to our constituents out in the county?
And that's what,
Because that's the issue the concern I have. Like I said, I'm willing to do whatever to help our constituents, but what are you saying that goes out to the county? Is the city gonna match also, or? this also, or then I can understand it, but I want at least my constituents out in the county to also get help from this.
All right, that'd be perfectly understandable. So if you match the 15, if you was granting us 15,000, then I'll make sure in the letter that it would only be used for county, and then I'll go and present to the city as well,
Yeah,
and see if I can get city funds to match as well, so they can. So yes, in your letter, if you do give us a letter of support, it'll be, those funds will be strictly for the
Do
county.
you have the grant application? Do you have the grant application?
I don't have I have the, it's in my car.
I'd like to see that grant application, because I don't know if we do that stipulation, will the grant allow you to do a stipulation with that to the extent that what he's requesting, that if the funding of Dimmit County be only used for constituents in the county limits? Because I'm not sure you can delegate that
Usually-
application.
Yeah, usually with all the grants that we've been receiving so far, we're allowed to.
Can you change it once it's already done?
Yeah, we're allowed to, how we set up and distribute the funds for the help, that's all on us.
I would like to look at the grant application just so I can see the language.
I'll go get it.
Just so I can see the language on what's allowed and what's not allowed.
It's allowed.
I think that, if we're matching it, why is it $5,000 above?
So I was at our board meeting, and Mr. Castaneda said that there was, that of course there's money that y'all have that you have to have set aside for these purposes. So I didn't want to ask, I could have asked for 10,000, but I'm like, but this is, I didn't want to go too far beyond.
Yeah.
But 5,000, it does cost a lot of money sometimes to repair these homes, so. and
I
I-
was looking at that, if you look at it, $2,500 is very rapid in the economy.
I don't think it's
How
gonna
much
do.
is $2,500 really gonna get you for one home? I mean, I had an electricity outage this weekend and it cost me well over that to replace a pole on electricity and get the electrician to come out. So my concern is that are you really going to be able to target 10 homes? I just feel like that amount, the $25,000, any money, free money is great money. I mean, we're to say that, right, because it's helpful, at least to somebody. But I just don't know if $2,500 really will help 10 homes. I mean, what are you anticipating on?
Yeah, we're not trying to replace, like, I know one individual called and they needed a roof. We can't do the entire roof, but if there's patches that can be done, we can do the roof patches just to prevent the leaks. One person called me, they just needed a door. They didn't have a door in there. So things like that, we can definitely be able to accomplish. But we just,
So it's minor, like.
it's minor, yeah, we can't. But some people need a toilet. We can replace that.
I'll tell you this, Mr. Coates, I know it's really hard and I appreciate what you're trying to do. And I know Commissioner Noguera has some constituents over at Catarina. I know they've called her and they've called us, and I'm sure that they won't mind me saying the name, the leaders. And they have been asking for help, and we tried to go help, not us, but with Mr. Ojeda and Mr. Diaz, and they tried as much as they could to go and help. But it was thousands, right, Commissioner, I mean, to fix their roof, and then they started getting upset because then they see that the county's name is associated with that, and then they get upset that we're not helping them. But it was thousands of dollars. Mr. Diaz is back there, and he could probably tell you, that was one particular family in Catalina. And so,
I still just want to be a third option. I'm going to always refer them to Community in Action because they have more funds to be able to help each individual. But in the case of just small repairs, then that's where we will step in and do the small home repairs. We're not.
I think that, I think it's a good program, and I know it's on I know it's on a schedule because, we're trying to apply for a grant to be able to match it. I just think that this comes after the first project of trying to secure the properties because it would be during the budget time because I also have the same question. I don't think that we can allocate funds already, so it would have to be coming during budget time. And then when we do our budget, that's when we would come ask for a certain set amount to be able to fund that NHS program inside. But I'm gonna go ahead and motion to table.
I'm still gonna be applying for the grant, it's just gonna be for the 10,000.
That was my question to you, Mr. Coates, regardless of the outcome of this scenario, you're still gonna apply for the grant, correct?
Of course, because some help is better than, yeah.
So, I would suggest that you probably apply for the grant and find out what the outcome of that is, and then approach both the city and the county and say, look, here's a document where the NHS has received this grant. What can you all do to help? Since we already have one egg in the basket, can you all add more? But at this point, I feel like if we turn it around, it gives us a little more lenience to what we're trying to match. We use that word match.
Because I was gonna say, there's still time for more, I know we're gonna probably miss the deadline for this one, but there's still opportunity later on to get prepared for like next year's budget and then put it in the budget and then put a match in the budget.
Because, I know NHS has been quiet for quite some time, and I'm doing a lot. Since Mr. Urinda, I'm gonna be asking, I probably will be coming back and asking just for some money set aside, because you're gonna start seeing the work that we're doing. And just have some money set aside just for NHS for any and all projects that we'll be working on in the future. Because I want to help everybody in Dimmit County.
I appreciate that very much, I really do.
When you do the application, can you give us the information, because you're gonna add a county, and then we also have colonias. But some of our colonias are not guaranteed under the grants because they have not been established before 1950. So can you give us those, because we have Carrizo Hill, we have Caterinas, and we have Espantosa subdivision, which is a colonia as well. But to make sure if those colonias are on that list.
So essentially, there's different grants that qualify a colonia a certain way. Like, for instance, in the past, we were able to get a certain grant, the CDBG grant, with the colonias. However, this year, they changed the language in the law to where the colonias were now, after 1950 for water purposes. If they were not a colonia before 1950, then they don't qualify anymore for those grants. They're still considered a colonia on paper. However, for purposes of grant writing, they're no longer considered a colonia. So I think that's what Commissioner Rubalcaba was asking you, is that if we can get the language of that application, if we can get that, and look at it so that we can see actually what qualifies as a colonia, because there might be certain situations in which Carrizo Hill might qualify as a colonia, but Catarina or Espantosa subdivision doesn't, or vice versa.
Yeah, I will, I get that, because through my research, my understanding was the entire Dimmit County is considered a colonia. And that's what,
Well, if you have that language and you have that research, we'll be more than happy to take it. And as I mentioned, you're absolutely correct. For certain purposes and for certain grant applications, the whole county might qualify as a colonia, but for certain applications, only certain areas qualify for a colonia. So you may very well be right, Mr. Coates, but if we have that language, we'd be more than happy to see it, because if, for purposes of your application, if the entire county of Dimmit qualifies as a colonia, that's great. But from what we've seen in the past is that not every single area in the county qualifies as a colonia.
And I think the purpose of this particular grant was just strictly for 501c3 nonprofits to be able to provide help in their communities. But I go get that. I don't want to take up, I know it's going to be a busy day today. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Thank you.
I have a motion by Commissioner Talamontes,
Second.
second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.6, discussion and appropriate action, grants and planning coordinator Selena Rodriguez to attend the 2025 Texas Emergency Management Conference on May 26th through the 30th in Fort Worth, Texas. Excuse me.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona.
Second.
Who's second?
No matter, Mayor, for sure.
Second by Commissioner Talamontes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.7, discussion and appropriate action, approval of private resale of property account number 13472, Purdue and Brandon.
Good morning again. This is an easy one. This is a full minimum bid, so that's why we just went ahead and decided to do the private resale, since it'll only require y'all's approval. Our recommendation, since this is going to put the property back on the roll and pay everything out based off of the first sale, to go ahead and approve it. Should you have any questions?
The amount on that second page, Mr. Cobb, says the amount for the bid, correct?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Other questions?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Odena. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.8, discussion and appropriate action, approval of private sale of property account numbers 12903, 10677, 13914, 14067, 12575, 13051, 13348, 10651, Purdue Brandon.
Thank you, Judge. So for these are going to be public resale requests. We have received bids to start off for each of those. And so in each instance, I can identify those. For the first one, Judge and Commissioner's Court, I do have Mr. Diaz here. He did reach out to me. This property was originally struck off to the school district. He had been conferring for years with their council, trying to get something together, and it never really panned out. I think they were stuck on just the minimum bid, and it had to be full amount based off of his statements. And so we're trying to see if we can work with him, and he can give a little bit more information as to why he put a bid on the property.
Good morning.
Morning.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Diaz.
This land is next to my house and it's been there for a while. And it's really fire hazardous because it's deteriorated, doesn't have any windows, and now with this storm we had some of the roof metal kind of part of it ended on my house. It's a lot, it's 125 by 50. It's right next to my house. And I got in contact with Purdue about that because I was concerned, that I had problems every time when they have fireworks, I have to water the place all over and things like that. And with the weather, bad weather, it is a fire hazard issue, And I offered Purdue, the amount, that it's here. My daughter was trying to get purchased, said she had planned to move to San Antonio, and she got a job here at the school district, so she's been saving money. And she said, well, I don't want to go to San Antonio anymore, I want to be here working in the school district, so we decided to see if we could purchase it for her to.
Commissioner.
Like I said, it's a small lot, 50 by 125. And I have to haul a lot of debris and,
Mr. Arce, what was your commentary in regards to the school? What did you say about the school?
This was struck off to the school district. So this was originally a suit that was done by their council. He had been trying to obtain it for, I think, a number of years. And I think that there was a reluctance to present anything to that board that was at least a full minimum amount. And so, we understand that this has been off for a while now. It was struck off back in 2015. He approached us and you said, yeah, let's work with you, let's figure out a way. If we can present it, at least I think the best situation would be to put it up for a public resale. Put it out on the courthouse, we'll take your bid as the first firing shot. If anybody else takes it, that's the risk you run. You might have to bid against somebody else. This would be a way for the county to be able to put the property up for sale, since it wasn't struck off to the county. But the 3405 does have a mechanism in place if by and through this order, for this item, the county can put it up for a public courthouse.
So because it belongs to the school district, the only way that the county will be able to sell it is if we put it up for auction, and it has to be public.
Not necessary.
Is that what I understood then?
We pretty much.
Because I'm
For
a
sure
little
then.
confused. If it belongs to the city, then how are we as a,
It's struck off to the school district to be held in trust on behalf of the county, everybody. And so there's a mechanism with the 3405 that says after the redemption period has passed, 6 months after that date, any entity can move forward and put the property up because it's held, yes, it's held in trust by the school district, but it's on behalf of everybody. And so if any of the other entities after that time period is passed can go up and say, hey, you know what, we want to put this property up for a public courthouse sale, the code empowers any entity to be able to do that, that taxes that account. And so this is eligible for that.
so just for, I get what you mean now, but the 10,000, since the school district has it, does that mean that that full amount of the bid, like they get paid out first, or does it still get provided?
And for this one, I believe the land value to be,
33.
yeah. Well, there's the improvement component as well.
33,612. In 2022.
And if you want to start the bidding at another amount, you can as well. This is just saying that, hey, at least we have somebody who's already committed to this amount.
Next to that lot, somebody owns it, they sell it, so if some lady owns it, and then it's lot there, then I'm next to it. So I don't know, like I said, I've been trying to get it for a while, but, I don't know if anybody would want to move next to me in a small property. I don't think the lady, owns the other property would be interested. Actually, the whole place is fenced.
How long has this property been left?
10 years.
2015.
So I'm gonna, for number 12903, this one in particular, Mr. Upton, I'm going to motion, I don't know, it's like a motion to go ahead and put it as a public resale as you recommended. At the starting price that Mr. Diaz submitted, and see if you have any other bidders. If not,
I would second that.
Second.
thank you, Mr. Diaz.
Yes, sir.
And then we have 10,677, 13,144, 13,067, 13,055, 13,055,
remaining bids came in for NHS, through the representative, Mr. Coates, who was here, just earlier. I don't know if you want to, if you have any questions about any particular line item ones. But same thing, for, 10677, starting bid would be 1,000 based off Mr. Coates' bid. Property value currently on the roll for the improvement, for the land only is 6,250. 13914, bid is 1,500. The total the value, assessed value is 36,723.
36,000?
Yes, but what's on there primarily off Eden and North 11th Street, there's a large structure that is completely, I mean, it kind of has like a, it has masonry, like stone, it's like front, but metal roof, but it's bad condition, bad.
Yeah, we sit on that one, to account. It's a little right.
That may be a little bit off on that one.
So this is just to open the bidding?
Yes, not to.
This is not for sale?
Not to accept it, not to sell it, not to transfer anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on 14067, what is the value of that? If you could just give us the value.
3,157 for the land. Yes.
And for $12,575,
6,913.
12,575 is what?
6,913.
And 13,051?
That's gonna be 3,690. Did you need the other ones?
I have them on.
Okay.
I haven't seen the back. It's copied front and back, so I haven't seen it. In regards to number 18651, Mr. Arce has Purdue and Brendan exhausted all their avenues in trying to service and give citation and notification to that family. It's already gone through.
It's already gone through, yeah. And
No one's come forward to pay that amount.
that's already been, I mean, they don't own it. Haven't since. Yeah, for that one, the improvement's at 8,267, the land's at 1,563.
I saw it. Excuse me. Any discussion?
Basically, it would be the same thing, we would be agreeing to set it at the minimum bid, at the bid amount that's
We'll give
given
it
to
out
us,
where we can.
set our own.
Yes, correct.
Mm-hmm.
So
Rule,
essentially what we're doing is we're giving Mr. Garcia the authorization to resell the properties at hand, and then we can delegate or dictate to him at what amount we want him to start the bidding process. I would suggest, given the original tax and how the amount of taxes that are rolling, at least a minimum of $1,000 each.
I would also take into consideration the year. Because I do think that the 2023 one,
I have a question. Why is there not a bid advice?
Because you have to go by the legal description, you don't go by the full forms. You go by legal description for purposes.
So when people want to bid on
Yes.
the property, they have to go
we
back.
do not, they do their due diligence homework. They go, CAD can provide some information, but they're gonna have disclaimers to protect them too. The idea is you don't wanna identify a particular property because actually you, by physical items.
So that's whenever you do lease a property, you go by legal description, not by.
I haven't seen any of these properties.
Excuse me?
I haven't seen any of the properties, that's why I was getting the orders from the commissioner.
Just to clarify, you made a motion on 12903.
Yeah, we haven't approved it. I'm gonna take the entire thing as a whole. It was just setting the number in particular for 12903 to set the bid, start the bid at 10. If you want, if any other commissioners or Commissioner Talamontes who want additional time to go look at the properties and make a better judgment call or feel more comfortable with your decision, we can always table the rest of the items.
Are, I mean, well, not necessarily the looking at it, because the year should reflect. I'm fine, well, yeah, but even if we, how do we decide the bid amount? Was it just like a random bid amount that they decided that they wanted to place?
That was just a bid that we received.
Yeah, they just-
That was just something, yeah, that we received.
So it wasn't like a percentage of like,
Maybe they did that, I don't know, but
because I feel like I would feel comfortable approving it, but starting the bidding rate at a percentage of what we all agree of what the amount that's due. Because there's some of them, the numbers just fluctuate so much, so taking, just for argument's sake, taking $1,000 bid on a $3,000 property seems fair to me, but taking $1,000 bid on a $25,000-$35,000 property doesn't seem just. So I would say maybe deciding on a percentage and then starting the minimum bids at that percentage.
that's something that's been done before. So one thing that entities will sometimes do is 50%. And 50% not of what's due, because a lot of these you'll see that oddly enough, the minimum bid matches the adjudged value. And that's because what was actually due was more. So instead of saying 50% of what's due, I'd say 50% of the minimum bid.
Because at that rate, like, I would be willing to consider anything under 5,000.
Yeah, but if you go with 50% of the minimum bid and she's talking about, she doesn't feel comfortable with 1,000, the minimum bid is 500, that's $250.
Well, not of the bid that came in, but more of the red, or it may not be colored in your version. The minimum bid column. So none of them are under. The lowest one is 3631 for 1330. 13348. That's the lowest value one, and that's so that's the lowest minimum bid. So the lowest one you would approve then
So
would
that
be
half.
somewhere around like 1,500, 1,600, it's
That's
called.
what I was saying.
Do you have the papers in front of you?
Yes.
The property, the bids.
No, other bids.
Judge, I'm going to motion to table, since these properties have been well on the,
With the exception of,
with the exception of 12903. The rest, I'm going to motion to table so we can do a little more research on this, and maybe the court as a whole can feel a lot more comfortable establishing a starting
If
bid.
we can get together, Mr. Absent, and we can put maybe something together so that we can present to the court, you and I at the next meeting.
Okay, perfect, Judge.
Second,
So
Judge.
I'm going to, I'm gonna take Commissioner Odessa's motion to approve the bid resale of 12903 at the beginning bid, what Mr. Diaz was submitted, Mr. Absent, and table the remainder of the account numbers to the 210-0677, 13904, 14067, 12575, 13051, 13348, 10651. And I have a second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. 3.9, discussion of monthly report from County Extension Agent for the month of April 2025.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioner.
Good morning.
Just a little overview of the month of April. I had a multi-county water screening, and Dimmit County brought in 16 samples for that. We also had our 4-H district derived from Action Beneficiaries. We had one that placed, which was Quebec Miranda, third place Silhouette. The rest of the placings are still pending. We plan on starting up our 4-H robotics program next month. So that's in the works right now. And then I also completed the hatching in the classroom with Carrizo Springs Intermediate. We had 2 teachers, 4 classes, and over 50 students participate in that. And then coming up for the month of June, I will be hosting my Adulting 101 for youth ages 13 and up. I'm finishing finalizing a few things on that. So once I have that ready, I'll go ahead and share that with y'all as well.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Odessa, second by Commissioner Alvarez. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Discussion of appropriate action approval for County Extension Agent Ms. Alyssa Cruz and FCA Agent Ms. Carissa Munoz to attend the 2025 South Region Program Planning Conference on May 20th and 21st in San Antonio, Texas. Motion by Commissioner Noguera,
Second.
second by Commissioner Talamontes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
3.11, discussion of appropriate action, monthly report from FCH Agent Carissa Munoz for the month of April 2025.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So in April, we had our biggest announcements for the Promoting Early Education Quality web series that we do each month. And it has grown over the past few years. We used to have like about 5 participants. Now we're at 42. So it's pretty big, and we're working with No Real Brand on that. And for our daycare educators, getting continuing education credits with our specialists that provide trainings every month. So it's growing, and we're hoping to continue it throughout the years. We do have several programs that are wrapping up. Tomorrow, our Garden and Katarina, the last class is tomorrow, which has been awesome. We have 5 really committed participants. They have been going on the weekends. They have been really tending to the garden
And thankfully with Commissioner Duagaba and her team's help and SM Energy like that, if you have a chance, I would go by to see it because it's really awesome. They have about 5 garden beds filled with vegetables, and then they'll be planting some stuff in the ground like watermelons and melons pretty soon. So tomorrow we wrap up. If you want to show up, we'll be happy to see you.
Where's this at?
Katarina at the park.
At the park.
And then I have Miss Julieta Leija, our BLT agent. She's going to present about the program that she did, a multi-county program. So she's going to let her talk a little bit about that.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioner. So this program is called Walk Across Texas, and I invited other counties, the Sheriff's Department, to compete. So it's Maverick, Dimmit, Zavala, and Uvalde. So it's going to be 2 winners, basically the county winner and then the team overall. As of right now, Dimmit County is the top county winner. So this will be presented to them this Thursday. So yeah, I just wanted to let you all know. It's a really good program that basically promotes the active living and all that stuff. So yeah.
Thank you. Awesome.
I have a motion by Commissioner Noguera, second by Commissioner Talamantes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. 3.12, I'm going to table the item. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.13, discussion and appropriate action monthly report from golf course. Is that also going to be tabled, Commissioner?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Motion to table.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. 3.14, I am going to motion to table that item as well.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. 3.14, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Constable Precinct 2, Mr. Andres Araula for the month of April 25.
Morning.
Morning.
Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
I see only 3 of us got the memo that we were supposed to remember today, so.
What is wrong?
It's Go Asherton Trojan Day, and we didn't wear maroon, Commissioner, we'll go.
Happy belated Mother's Day, by the way.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
You have a question? You got a question?
I said, what were you saying? I thought it was red. Sorry.
Motion.
You had a question?
No, there was a question.
No, was it?
Oh, that was your question.
Who was wearing
He was asking you who was wearing maroon. I have a motion by Commissioner Talamantes, second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
3.16, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Constable Precinct 3, Mr. Robert Valderas, Valentino Torres for the month of April 2025.
Morning, Judge. Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I do want to thank you for assisting me. When we got the storm in, Constable and his deputy were able to assist me with moving a tree that was blocking a dead-end road. So thank you guys for that. I appreciate you so much.
Questions of Constable Valderas?
Motion to approve.
Do you have a question? Go ahead.
Constable, was your unit down every week or 2 weeks? It's been repaired?
Yes, they repaired. We had to take it to Ramsey.
Oh, it's running good?
That's running right now.
Other questions? I have a motion by... Oh, Carmona? Oh. Okay, Ms. Medina. Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Talamantes. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Constable. 3.17, discussion and appropriate action, monthly report from Constable Precinct 4, Mr. Manuel Rosas for the month of April 2025.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning. Motion.
Any questions? I have a motion by Commissioner Talamantes, second by Commissioner Noguera. Any other discussion?
Also, thank you, Mr. Rosas, for assisting us in Catarina and Ashton and for using the
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Constable.
Thank you.
3.18, discussion and appropriate action, approval to paint the historical jailhouse precinct 1.
Just this item, between Ms. Seidel and I, we decided to place it on the agenda for the simple fact that that building seems to be a historical marker for Dimmit County, and since we're requesting to repaint it at this time, I think the last time this payment was back when.
We initially got it, I'm sorry, good morning, Ms. Malcha.
Thank you.
And it was back in last part of 2012, because we got the, to move in 2013.
So
Do we need to submit that request to the Historical Commission?
Well, that's why I put it on the agenda, because my understanding, from speaking to Mr. Bell, is that unless you're going to do any type of major improvements or construction to the building, it shouldn't really be an issue. He'd be probably the one to really.
Well, Mr. Bell is the chairman for the
Historical Commission Committee.
I'm also on that commission as well, so that's why I'm here, because he couldn't be here. You're right, the rule is that in a historical building, you can, paint, fix up, but you can't like move out windows, you can't change out doors, you can't change anything
Like
on
the structure of it.
Yes, ma'am. Now, the inside is different, right? Because when we initially got the building, the commissioner at the time was Michael Duray. He's the one that helped us with getting the inside done and painted. But
The exterior.
the exterior, yes, ma'am. That you can repair, maintain, to keep its appearance, because it is a historical building.
And that's at the phase we're at this point. We did repair a window that was falling out from the second floor. It's the second floor.
Yes, yes.
And then we did some landscaping around the premises and just repaired some concrete.
So the window should have been through the Historical Commission?
No, because
No,
we're not.
You just put it back up, you didn't change it
Yeah,
out.
we didn't change it. We didn't change the look or the size or anything. We just pretty much put it in place so it'll stay intact.
Yes.
I have a question. When you were done, sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
So at this point, basically for transparency purposes, I've run the Commissioner's Court so that everybody's aware if they do see us out there, we're actually trying to upgrade the look of the building.
We are members of the Texas Historical Commission as well.
Yes, we are.
So,
Thank you, Ms. Inez.
How similar are the colors to what's going to be painted? Are you changing the color?
no ma'am, the original colors that were done, I kept the swatches. And I Xerox copies, colors, and I gave them to Commissioner Uranda, so it's the same colors. We're not gonna change it.
I think as long as it's approved through the historical commission, and you're not changing the colors, and it's just the maintenance and upkeep, I don't see a problem with it. Are you ready for a motion? Yeah, of course.
I'll entertain a motion to approve to paint the Historical Jail Commission on the representation of Ms. Seidel and Mr. Urena that we do not need to go through the Historical Commission Committee to have approval to paint the Historical Jailhouse.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Talamantes. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Seidel.
Thank you, thank you.
3.19, discussion and appropriate action, approval to service a front-end loader that was vandalized in Asherton on December 30th, 2024.
Judge, this item is on the agenda due to the amount, and because the process, how it took place, the machine was vandalized in Asherton, and I wanted to find out if this is something that the insurance is gonna pick up, because it's up in the amount of $7,556.
Is there a police report?
Yes, ma'am.
If we can get the police report together and we can get all the information from the vandalization, we can get with Mr. Pereira and we will submit that to the insurance company, and then the insurance company can advise us if it's approved, and if not, then we can put it back on the agenda to discuss the payment of it, and also to see whether or not was there a individual that was, or were there any individuals that were found to be the reason as to them vandalizing? Like, who was the person that vandalized it? Did they find anybody?
Not to my knowledge, the police went out there and did a report and took pictures, and actually there was 2 machines that were vandalized.
The reason why I ask is if there was some suspects identified, then we can, through the court system, ask for restitution back for the county for whatever amount is going to be paid by the county. But if there is no suspects identified, then
And it's either us or the insurance.
correct. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to request that you can get us all the information from the sheriff's office so that we can put it together, and Mr. Pereira can submit it to the insurance to see if they will be able, to cover the cost of repairing it. If not, then we can have further discussion to have it.
Do you have the report?
Did you?
The reports.
Me? No.
Where was it located at, Mr. Luna?
At the stock car where the,
Going towards Catalinas?
Because it happened sometime back.
It says December 30th, 2024 is the reporting date. So I'm just gonna go ahead and table it, Commissioner Lina, so you can get that documentation to Mr. Pereira.
the documentation is actually attached to this.
I know, the Commissioner Talamantes just showed me that, but I'm saying if you want to get all that together to give it to Mr. Pereira,
Okay, we'll get it to his office.
so that he can submit the
Okay.
claim. You mean again, like you've already submitted to his office?
That's how I ended up in San Antonio, because I had to get a report before we did anything with it. And I was told to take it to San Antonio for repairs, and then we would figure out whether the insurance or we were going to pay for it.
So the machine's still in San Antonio?
The machine's in San Antonio since December.
So the documentation has been submitted already to the auditor's office. So Mr. Pereira, we can just get that, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Second?
Second, yes, second, I did.
There's a motion.
Second, I motion to table it. And second by Mr. Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.20, discussion and appropriate action, approval to purchase a 2025-2026 3500 diesel crew cab from CO for Precinct 1.
Judge, this truck is basically to replace the 1 ton that we have from utilities. That truck is very much on its last leg. We're down to utilizing it to transport fuel, and we have to pull smaller trailers. They wasn't able to pull one of our goosenecks the other day. We took it into the shop, and they told us it's just honestly, that's pretty much what the mechanics said. They did do some repairs to the air conditioning system, but other than that, we use it to transport fuel, and the crew uses it when they're doing load work. So the structure will be pulled with this week, ready to go there.
And for clarification purposes, is the amount 65,519 or the 70,330?
It's 65,519, is my understanding. That's on the Bible.
They don't do trade-ins?
They do.
I would suggest you look and see if we can do a trade-in.
He's asking about trading it in. Or Commissioner Alonso Carmona is asking about
We've done,
why doesn't he trade it in?
we've done trade-ins in the past.
This is
So are you gonna trade it in?
No, that, he's asking if they will do trade-ins, because we've done trade-in in the past.
But can you ask them what you give it for? I'm asking just to see how much, if they're offering.
To lower the
To lower the cost.
65,000, the cost.
Is there a certain amount of years that we have to keep a vehicle before we can trade it in?
Not in writing.
No.
There's two different prices, 65,000 and 70.
That was my
So
question.
which one is it?
Because I'm seeing the next line item, I was assuming is a 70 for the next line item?
No, because there's a different agenda request for that one.
Because on that one is 57.
Is this all the truck?
But for this one, it's two different ones. So I'm just trying to get the dollar number.
Says adjustment total. So the destination charge is the delivery from where they have it, whether, I'm sure it's coming in from San Antonio, but that seems to be the only difference between the 68.
I know, but on your first one, on your buy board deal worksheet, it says total amount 65,519. But on the next page that you're talking about, it says 70,330 to include the destination charge that you're talking about.
We can do away with the destination charge.
Well, 65 and then
Pick it up as
68.
you go.
I think the next truck, ma'am, is, the next item, you gotta,
The next item is 57,000. And you keep going down.
I don't see that.
If you keep going down, it's there.
Because even the amounts don't match, it's 65,519, but then on the second sheet, it's 68,135, and then it's the destination charge. So where's the extra?
And this won't include if you trade in, right, correct, Commissioner?
This is not, nothing to do with trade. This is a flat out purchase. Go back.
How old is the vehicle that you're replacing?
2010.
one's coming, the other one's you.
We're not really replacing the vehicle, we're gonna try to keep it going. That's that,
So
that
his-
duty that they have
So his
purchased.
comment about you trading that in doesn't really matter, right? 'Cause you're
Well,
not trading
well, I
it.
mean, we don't have to specifically trade in that one time, we just trade in one of the other trucks, like the 4-door or something, but the other trucks are pretty much in good condition, that's why if we were to trade in, it'd be the one truck. So we consider trading in, pretty much is-
I don't have a problem buying it. The thing is, there's two different quotes or two different dollar amounts. I'm just trying to make sure if it's the 65 or the 70.
If there's gonna have the COs, I'd just like to know where the extra money's coming from.
I think the 70 is for the, based on what this is, for the delivery, because they did, you know how they deliver?
But their original amount of that one is what Commissioner Carmona is saying, that it's still even different, because it shows 68,135.
if you just take off the delivery charge,
68,135.
So the difference is 2,000 and change?
mm-hmm.
So what would happen if we were to approve the 70 and it end up being less? Just pay less?
Once we approve it, we can't go over as long as it doesn't go over.
That's what I was,
If it's less, it's
that's what I was considering, approving the 70, and if it's less, we wouldn't be in a situation where we'd have to bring it back.
The MSRP is 70,330. So you get a discount of 6,730, which brings it up to 63,600. With the 63,000, and then they're charging you the accessories 1,912, which brings it up to 65,512. That's why the 70,000 is in the bottom, and then it has the discounts, and then the additional to it, so it'll be 65,519 with 50 cents.
Without the delivery.
No, that includes the delivery.
Yeah, delivery.
Because it says amounts of line items.
Motion to approve the 65,519 with 50 cents.
Motion by Commissioner Pivotal,
Second.
second by Commissioner Felix,
65,519, right?
and $65,519.50. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.21, discussion and appropriate action, approval to purchase a 2025 1500 LT Crew Cab Chevy from COs for precinct 1.
There's this truck's a half-ton Chevy pickup we're trying to purchase to replace two vehicles, two half-ton trucks. One that was transferred to the security police, and the other one that's being utilized by the inspector for the project. But instead of getting two, we're just gonna get one.
This is to replace, I'm sorry, what?
The one truck that was transferred, a half-ton truck that was transferred over to courthouse security, and the other one's being used by the inspector for that project, the complex project.
So the,
Okay.
so this truck will be for the inspector?
No, he already has a truck right now.
No, he said he was gonna replace, so I was like,
Not for,
No, but what I meant is that we don't have access to the two trucks right now because they're being used. So we're gonna bring one in so we can use it, but it'll replace the one that will stay with the security The security police has one vehicle.
Huh?
Commissioner, again, you got two different prices. I don't know how. But you got 57,991, 75 cents. And then the other one you have,
61.
61,000.
Um,
So, I don't know what,
hold on, so you gave, I'm confused. You gave the truck to the courthouse security and one to the sports complex manager. So you gave two trucks and you're buying one truck to replace those two trucks.
We gave one truck, transferred one truck to the courthouse security.
Okay.
The other truck is not transferred. He's using it because he needed a truck.
The sports complex.
Correct. So one is fully transferred, the other one is not. The other one is still under our inventory list. So in reality, this truck would replace the one we transferred to courthouse security
So this new one will be for utilities or will be for precinct one?
or precinct.
Not that I want to be rude, but what does courthouse security need a vehicle for?
They utilize it to, I guess, make calls. Sometimes they gotta go to the sheriff department, one security or the other. I haven't asked that. I just know that they use it.
Because they're both courthouses are right here.
Judge and Commissioners Courts, when we do the budget, we're gonna have to see how we can do it to help out the sheriff's office too with vehicles, because all of us in road and bridges are having our brand new trucks and our deputies are out there with no reliable vehicles. Half of them are not used. I mean, they're total, or they haven't bought any vehicles in a while. So I make a motion to purchase a vehicle. I know you're buying it through COs, and it'll be for precinct one. And then when budget time comes, we need to think about it too, about getting some vehicles for the sheriff's office.
I'm willing to help Commissioner however possible to keep the sheriff and his department well equipped.
Because I know that you asked
Okay.
also with constable, I think it would be a good idea also to have a vehicle for the constables just when units go down. They have something in rotation too.
Well, that would take some coordination between constables and the sheriff department, where I'm sure somewhere, I mean, it's just basically phone calls.
but right now we're diverting from the actual agenda thing.
I made my motion.
I understand,
We didn't have a
but
second.
we're diverting from the agenda. When the time comes in, we can discuss it, but right now, we are discussing the price of the pickup. And it's, I'm asking,
Your question is because it's two different.
there's two different quotes.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm having a problem with either, but there's two different amounts.
It's the top one. The 57,991.75.
So essentially, if we just look at the deal worksheet and disregard
The
the
bottom line.
if we disregard this item, if we go simply on the deal worksheet,
The
that's
bottom one
the
has
item.
the total amount, and then
Okay.
the discounts are in the deal sheet.
Thank you.
It was originally 61,735, but with the discounts, it came to 57,335.
It's 57,991 and
It still has
75 cents.
a little additions to it.
Do you need a motion or what do we do?
No, he had a question. I'm the one that will entertain the motion. I entertained Commissioner Furukawa's motion already, but Commissioner Carmona still had a question. That's why I haven't asked for a second yet. Because he had a question.
That was it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Second.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Furukawa, and I have a second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona in the amount of 57,991.75. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.22, discussion and appropriate action. Requesting approval for road and bridge and sanitation department employees to come in at 7 a.m. effective May 12, 2025 due to hot weather temperatures to work from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Noguera, second by Commissioner Talamantes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 3.23, discussion of appropriate action. Motion for discussion and approval to add travel policy on to the Dimmit County handbook.
Do you have a copy of it?
We have a
That is my fault. Can we go on to the next one and ask for copies real quick?
You want to come get copies?
I apologize for that.
Request 3.23. 3.24, discussion of appropriate action. Motion for discussion and approval to transfer concession stand responsibilities at Islands Park from County Judge Marco Ponte to Commissioner Vanessa Zalamatis. Excuse me. Do I have a motion to transfer the approval of the concession stand responsibilities to Commissioner Zalamatis?
So,
Motion taken by Commissioner Carmona.
move second.
All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries.
Before we move on from that one, I just wanted to be able to share if anybody wants to see it. The profit and loss
You're
sheets.
asking to reopen it because we're in
Yes,
motion.
yes.
Discussion of appropriate action, motion to approve the concession stand responsibilities.
Yes. So this is the profit and loss sheet, just so that we're all on the same page on my decision to close the concession stand. I know that we haven't been able to operate out of it. I also did look at the water bills. I think that you were misunderstanding when you said 4,500 was the last water bill. That's what we paid year to date, but it's
No, I
not.
was talking about in the past. Like in the past, if we look right here, like, we give like the months, how much we paid. If we look at that other thing.
So in 2023, the only number that came close to was
If you look,
4,000.
I think if you have it,
Urban have it.
if you look at from 2021, in October, we paid 1,000. In November, and this goes back to 2021, but at least what I was given.
You all have the sheet from it. I just didn't want to leave it the way that it was for people to think that I was closing the concession stand and we were paying bills of 4,500 in water bill. I wanted to be transparent that,
But we have, Commissioner, we have paid for 1,000 in water bills. But I think that conversation's more, I mean, I have no problem transferring it to you. I do want to give you, I'll give you these items as well because I know that Ms. Hernandez submitted a deposit, or not Ms. Hernandez, but Ms. De Leon went this morning and deposited to Mr. Ortiz, I guess, to Mr. Ortiz's office, or Mr. Ortiz, amount, so I can give you those for the additionally deposited, this morning for revenue. But, the motion has been approved for you to have it, and it's your decision to close down the concession stand. And that's your department, and that's the decision you want to make to close the concession stand, and I respect that.
I just didn't want it to sound like if I was being malicious and malicious intent, or if I was moving without trying to gather all the facts. And I know that the last time that we were up here, we didn't have any paperwork in front of us. I was clear so that we were on the same page. Mr. Uranda.
You got,
I just honestly, if I'm speaking freely and truthfully, I didn't want to make it
seem like if I was being malicious, I do feel that it was in the best interest to keep the concession stand and the park together. I was a little confused when we left because I wasn't able to close the concession down right away. But just for transparency reasons, I wanted to be able to come up here and say that it wasn't a decision that was made based off of just personal agenda. The numbers just weren't there and they weren't adding up. And I know I have said it before, I know that the method that you were trying to do and how you explained it, that you were trying to do what Eagle Pass had. And I do think that in the situation with the bigger sports complex, attracting out-of-towners from big leagues, that may work. That just was not the case when it came to this Little League field. So I did want to just be able to call that out. So you're saying that there was $4,000 water bill, but we have not seen that probably since 2023. So this
I
year,
think the last biggest water bill was we had in November of 20.
I think you said because of water leak, right?
That's my distinct understanding, that there was a water leak. I don't know, but the last bigger bill was August the 1st, 2024, which you can see on there reflects $1,257.91. The biggest bill we've had to date was back in September of 2023, which was $4,947.27 at those fields.
That was the water leak.
That was in 2023, right?
Correct. I don't know if it was in particular that, I know that there has been
Because
some-
y'all guys had maintenance of the park since
January 1, 2025.
no.
That's, let me make it clear to Commissioner Talamantes, because that's the agreement that me and Commissioner Juan Carmona had. And this court can tell you that when Commissioner Juan Carmona transferred, I had, on paper, I had the budget, thank you, Commissioner Odena. I had the budget in October of 2024, yes, I did. But Commissioner Juan Carmona and I made an agreement that I would allow him to continue running that field until December 31st, 2024, out of respect, because he wanted it, that's what he wanted. So I did that. So January 1st, 2025, that's when I physically had boots on the ground that I was in maintenance of that. But up to December 31st, I was commissioner, I allowed Commissioner Juan Carmona on December 31st.
2025.
We're not in December.
I know, I mean, 2024.
December 31st, 2024, Commissioner Juan Carmona kept it all the way through, and then I got it January 1st, 2025. The maintenance part of it, like actually going there. But on paper, yes, it did belong to me. And anything that Commissioner Juan Carmona needed to buy or that he wanted to fix would come and get a PO from my staff under my line item, yes.
I just feel like you're making it sound like in the 3 months time frame that the park got that bad, and I don't think that that's correct.
No, you're absolutely correct. It didn't get bad in 3 months. Absolutely not. It did not get bad in 3 months. It's been bad. That field has been bad. But I'm not going to sit here and point fingers, or I'm not going to speak poorly of how
The previous administration.
Correct. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to talk poorly of the previous administration. And like you said, as I mentioned, Commissioner, I think that this point has moved. I've already transferred the concession stand responsibilities to you, and I will respect that if you don't want to take the concession stand and give it now to the organizations. I will respect that. I don't know what we need to continue the discussion for.
I just felt like there was a lot of inaccurate things that were said in the last Commissioner's Court, and I wanted to make sure that we inform the public for transparency reasons on the decision that we made and where we were at, because I firsthand know, because I was out there and I was receiving complaints at every game that I was attending to, thinking that, and to my understanding, I thought Commissioner Miranda was maintaining the yard, and I was always praising him on, just go ahead and get in contact with him, because whenever we had our budget amendment, when you pulled me into your office, you said that Commissioner Miranda was going to be assisting you with the maintaining of that park, and that Commissioner Carmona would never have it, and then come the end of the year that you would be full responsibility of the park. And that was way before January or December. But I agree with you. Just for transparency reasons, I just wanted to,
May I?
You may.
I have a question. Because of you making the statement that the concession stand will no longer be active through the county, correct?
No, I think that we should be able to come together and decide, like, to look at the water bills and then decide a rate that we feel as Commissioners Court is best to charge the league. So that way we eliminate that factor out. And why I wanted to have the discussion on it, because I do feel that it is a vital part of our community and we do receive backlash on it. So I wanted to be able to have a conversation so that when we're asked, because even now with the concession stand being closed due to maintenance, I'm still receiving calls, people thinking that I'm being malicious, saying, well, are you only closing it, you know, did you have something to do with her not being in there? It was because of a maintenance issue, but I'm, by all means, if this is something that the community takes interest on and wants to be informed on the process that it is, I mean, that's why I was elected to come up here for 4 years and talk, so I'm gonna come up and talk and ask all the questions I gotta ask.
So, one of the complaints, I don't know if you received this complaint, is the league actually charging at the door, since they cannot bring in the revenue from the concession stand as they used to in the past. So, I just wanted to put it out there, if we're not gonna open the concession stand, what are we as a court gonna do to address the issue that the constituents have, or the people that are using the park from organizations charging whatever it is that they're charging at the door?
I feel like it's no different based on like when we rent the arena and stuff like that. So we just have to decide on a percentage or amount that we're okay with renting to them. But I think after that, that's solely dependent on them and how their organization needs to function. I do know that people weren't happy about it having to pay at the door, and I did receive that complaint. But let's just be honest. I think people are gonna have complaints all the times over organizations and leagues, but really it does take a lot for these people to go out there and do it. I do know that them having the concession stand, maybe that might be a decision that they make within their organizations to not do it anymore, but I don't think that we can control them. What we can do as a Commissioners Court is decide what we are going to want to charge them collectively and together, because I'm all for working together for transparency reasons and to keep the community informed. So by all means, if any commissioner up here wants to hold me accountable on the rates that we're charging or has any input, I'm open to listening or hearing any of that. But as far as charging at the door, the prices of concession stand rates, I don't think that we'd be able to do anything to help rectify that situation or that complaint.
Because at the end of the day, even if, let's say for instance, that you no longer have concession stand and you can, they can still charge at the door if they want. I mean, that's their organization. We can't control what the organization's gonna do essentially. The only way we can control it, if you wanted to control it, was when we do obviously our at budget, when we approve like rates and stuff for the arena and other usages.
Yeah.
We can incorporate that into the discussion and incorporate that into the contract, saying, hey, if you want to use the fields, it's going to cost you this much now, because now you get to get the concession stand and you get to make that money, but have the caveat that they can't use or they can't charge at the door. And those are that's just language that needs to be, we have to have an agenda item to discuss all of that when it comes to the contracts and when we approve the contracts. It's kind of like the contract at the arena. I mean, at the arena, the contract to use it for a wedding or a quinceañera or whatever is you can't have alcohol. And if you are going to have alcohol after so many people, you have to have security guards, or you can't have beer bottles. So if you wanted to delegate or dictate how someone's going to use the facility, you have to put that on the contract.
Well, maybe we should, because it's my understanding, before I was involved with Commissioners Court, that field was solely established to give the kids of our community a place to have their tournaments. My understanding of that field, the whole property belonged to the city. The city was unable to put it together, so the county took over it. And I seem to see things in a different perspective. And if we allow, so basically if somebody rents the arena, I don't know, I feel like these local county locations that we have are there to offer to the people to utilize at a reasonable cost, not for somebody to come and rent it at a low rate. And I've had people laugh about Oh, that's all they charge at the county baseball field. In San Antonio, I have to pay 3 times the amount. And they're using it as a business because they're profiting big time from it. I feel we should concentrate more on providing what we need for our kids and not for somebody to go and make money and then have a discussion about it afterwards. I feel that's something that maybe we should look at. That's my point of view.
I just don't think that we can legally, but I think if I'm not mistaken, and I could be extremely wrong, so I will take accountability for that before speaking, but I think that they only started to charge at the door to offset the cost of the security and for the concession stand. I don't think that it was ever in their...
That's true.
Right, I don't think it was ever in their first thought to say, we're gonna go ahead and start. So maybe setting a flat rate and us deciding a flat rate will eliminate, and we're hoping that that would be the solution that we offer the people. Because I do agree, it's a county park, supposed to be meant for our youth and for the community, and it did start to feel like it was profiting 3 different ways on the park. But like I said, the only reason to want to open it back up is I didn't want for anybody to think that I was malicious. And for transparency reasons, the report that I received was 16,000 upside down. This year, the judge submitted a deposit, so that means the property loss total to the concession stand of $10,683, which I feel that we're going to be able to offer a rate and still be okay with offering that amenity to the community, not profiting on it, but I think we'll be okay in the long run. I think we're spending more money than what we were getting.
I think we do need to put a set rate if they use the concession stand, the organizations. And I know they lifted up their entrance fee once they didn't have the concession stand, because that's what they had to make money for their leagues. So of course, their fee had to go up from 50 cents to $1 up to 3, 4, 5%, whatever they charge now. And I'm glad to see these numbers because I was under the assumption, so we were told the monthly bills were $4,000, $5,000. When I understand in summer, of course, they're going to be more $1,200, $1,700, and on a monthly basis, it's $200, $300. And I was one that voted for the turf to put on the East Park, and I'm glad we didn't because I was told under $5,000 a month water bill, and seeing these numbers, it's not. So I'm glad in that part, but we do have to sit down and do a fee for the concession stand and communicate with these people, with the leagues and the organizations, letting them know what's going on, how we're going to do it now, or what's going to happen. That way they know too. I think that would help.
I do think that I do guarantee you guys that, to my understanding, the contract ends this year, Judge?
Correct.
So then when we need to bring back the contract, that's when we discuss the rates that we want
Well,
to
I think in
charge.
general, just the contract period, not just regarding the league, because in the summers, like, they have kickball tournaments, they have other baseball tournaments, so other people use it during the summer, so that contract needs to come back in general, to add certain verbiage on there, because even, like, Commissioner Orlando was saying, like, in the summers, there's certain organizations that come from San Antonio, and they come in, or Cotulla, and they come and host softball and baseball tournaments here, and they charge $10, $12 at the door. And, I mean, I can't change that, you can't change that, that's the rate that they charge, and like I said, there's no language in the contract that says you can't charge that. That's just how it is. It's like I was telling Commissioner Reyna that for basketball, the basketball leagues, they use the school and they charge at the door as well. And they also have concession stands, so there's just different ways of how different organizations run their leagues, run their tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll discuss it when it gets there. I do appreciate you to transfer the concession stand. I stay a little confused on the last commissioner's corner why it couldn't happen. But again, just for transparency reasons, I just wanted to throw out the numbers so that way nobody out there thinks that I'm moving maliciously or in bad faith of anything. I'm generally up here trying to do the best that I can for my precincts. And I hope this does clear it up, so.
3.25, discussion and appropriate action. Yes, discussion and appropriate action, motion for approval to gift trees to the Dimmit County Arena Sports Complex to the Dimmit.
Dimmit County Coalition? Did I wrote that wrong?
You wrote motion for approval to gift trees to the Dimmit County Arena Sports Complex to the
I guess you did.
Wellness Coalition.
So it was motion to approve and give trees to the Dimmit County, from the Dimmit County, not to, from the Dimmit County Arena, why did she put on sports complex?
That's what you put on your request.
Yeah, one of my secretaries submitted it for me. So what was supposed to read was a motion to approve and give trees from the Dimmit County Arena to the Dimmit County Wellness Coalition. Do I need to put this back on the agenda? I see what she did. She even put sports complex in here. I don't know what it was, but it's just an error. We're gonna do it, okay. So the line item, just for clarification, is to motion to approve to gift the trees from the Dimmit County area to the Dimmit County Wellness Coalition. So there are a total of set amount trees. I don't know how many trees they are. Fruit trees. I'm not going to sit up here and fib. I did not maintain them when I first came in for a few months. It was an issue that kind of slipped through the cracks a little bit. Luckily for me that I had people inquiring about them. Once I did look into them, they are fruit-bearing trees. So if I'm not mistaken, technically, as a commissioner, I'm not able to give or gift away any of the fruit on the trees because it'd be considered a free gift. Now, people could go and pick it, but it'd be up to the people's free will to go and pick it. So I think that it's best to gift it to the Dimmit County Coalition so that way they can maintain it, and when the fruit or trees bear fruit, they're able to pass out and distribute so nothing gets wasted. You're looking at me like I can't do that.
You can't do that.
You cannot give.
You can't give any, you can't give anything.
So then why do we plant fruit trees if we can't give none of this fruit away?
You can, no,
Commissioner Juan had requested for us to.
Yeah, I don't even know if you can give the fruit away. That, I would have to check on that. Because
So
I know,
how much do we spend on these trees? Like 15,000, and we can't do nothing with the fruit?
we can,
So you go to round?
You can give it to the sheriff's office for the bill.
You want trees?
No, but she means the fruit, you can give the fruit to the sheriff's office.
you can give the sheriff could maintain them and keep the fruit.
first of all, we're trying to make sure they stay alive. What are we giving away fruit if we're trying?
Well, no, I'm saying that if the sheriff maintains them to water them, give the responsibility back to the sheriff, and then, I mean, but you can't give them away.
I don't mind helping and assisting. Let me just say that. I do not mind helping and assisting. We have been trying to come up with solutions so that way we can slowly water the trees, especially during the heat, the month of heat, because you do have to water these trees either early in the morning or later on in the evening. You can't be watering them in the dead of heat in the middle of the day. But what are we going to do with the fruit?
The coalition can help you take care of them, you just can't give it to them.
So what are we going to do with the fruit?
You
Give it
can
to sheriff?
To the sheriff.
So we're going to have to give it to the sheriff's office.
Or you could give it to
We could check on that, but.
Christmas
yeah,
gifts for
but the
everybody,
trees
fruit
you can't.
baskets.
For now, the trees you can.
when the trees actually grew.
That defeats the purpose why we voted
Yes.
to plant these trees. If we all knew this, that it was not allowable to give the fruit away.
Because my thing is, I don't want to nurse these trees to health, and then we're bearing so much fruit, and then we're going to have issues with bees, livestock, everything else. So, I mean, to me, if you're going to spend $15,000 on trees and approve it,
But we did.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, when the item came up, Commissioner Carmona had the intentions to plant these trees and to be able to grow them. And hopefully in the future, they give out whatever fruit, because there's different types of fruit trees, but his intention was that people use the park, if they walk by and there's, I'll call it an orange hanging off a tree, if they wanna take it, they can take it. I don't see anybody filing charges against them for that, but, that's basically what.
And it's a good idea, but the only thing is that what happens, and I know he did it in good faith, but my only thing is what happens if nobody goes picks the fruit, and then we're gonna have bees, we're gonna have it's gonna pose an issue later on, because I can water the trees and I can maintain the trees,
Pick up the fruit and.
but we're eventually gonna have to be picking up fruit, and if my options are limited on what we can do with them,
Pick it up and go.
Well, just pick it up and take it to the sheriff's.
Yeah, I think there'll be enough, I think if the trees do survive and they start giving out fruit, I don't know why I have a feeling there'll be more than enough of volunteers that will be going out there.
so the people can go and pick, like, I can't tell them to go, but technically these people can go and pick.
That's something you need to bring up to the county attorney.
So I guess the sheriff's office is really gonna have fruit baskets for all the Dimmit County come.
Can they give it on? Come on.
So what?
There was
Give it
fruit
out
last year,
commodities.
they said. There was fruit, and to my understanding, the employees
I'd
were
have
the
to
ones
check for
that.
that too, because it's,
No, employees said there were fruit.
What
If there,
What fruit?
it wasn't huge, but your guys were the ones, Joey and all them were the ones that said that there was fruit.
Pobrecito Joey.
Sarah, that's your employee, Kim Marlowe.
Joey
So
does water.
there's gonna be no action, we're not gonna,
No, but since we are on the topic, we'll just keep watering them. We don't want anybody
there's no
to
action, let's make on.
We're not gonna take care of
action
it.
for the tree.
Me or you?
We either, whoever.
We'll get together and work on it.
4.1, discussion of appropriate action to approve the purchase of 15 IP cameras for Dimmit County Courthouse, Hamilton, and PS office under other Operation Lone Star FY 4375
Good morning. Morning. So we decided to go with this company. They were the cheapest out of all of the companies that I inquired. They are by board. And one of the benefits of this security company is that they're able to detect firearms. And they'll alert if firearms are detected.
Entertain a motion.
It's grant, so it's all
Okay.
second.
Second by Commissioner
I
Alvarez.
have a question, since we're talking about Operation Lone Star, because that's my pick. We're buying equipment, but it's not being used, because those ATVs have been sitting there for over a year and a half, and nobody can use them.
Yes.
So what are we gonna do with that? Because we're buying equipment and it's not being used. I don't want anybody to come press charges on us that we buy equipment and it's not being used.
I thought they should.
Nobody
No.
has, they've been sitting there. I've been asking the commissioners for it, and I asked EMS also. EMS was not able to get it, or they were waiting for the letter, and they're still sitting there.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, I need to know what we're gonna do with all this, because we're buying equipment and it's not being used.
Is it one or two?
It's
Two.
And one was supposed to go to EMS and one was supposed to go to.
Initially, when Selena applied for the grant, she had a line and had inquired from EMS what their requests and needs were. And then OLS came down and had a meeting with us and told us that we were not allowed to do that. We weren't allowed to because they're a private entity, not a Dimmit County entity. So their request to give them an ATV was not an allowable thing that we could do. So we just kept the ATV there. We couldn't give it to EMS.
But where's the second one? That's what I.
They're both there.
Okay, but one went to EMS, who did the other one go to?
They didn't want to nobody.
Dirty lots.
So both of them were purchased for the intent of EMS?
No, one was for EMS and the other was for the judge's office.
And the judge cannot use it because it's not unlisted under Lone Star, Operation Lone Star. Operation Lone Star is only
No,
for.
OLS.
OLS.
OLS
Lone
is,
Star and OLS, two different.
no,
Okay.
OLS is Operation Lone Star. But the state did say that I could move the item to emergency management and allow them to use it, Victory can use it if needed. They did say that. But so it is under emergency management.
So EMS can use it under emergency management.
Yes.
And the sheriff, can the sheriff get one or the fire department get one?
Yes.
Okay, so what are we waiting for to transfer them then? Or for them to
No,
use the
they're-
air?
because they've been sitting there for over a year and a half. We've been buying equipment, and we continue to buy equipment, and it's sitting there. I keep asking, when are we gonna use these?
Right now, they're under
Use them for
emergency.
freight, and we haven't been able to use them for something else.
Yeah, right now, they're under emergency management, under the emergency management department. But she,
Now that it's under her,
Yes.
they can use, we can give
yes,
the
they
sheriff.
can use them here.
Yes.
The EMS, we can
Yes.
give
Yes.
the
So then they just have to come and check it out
Yes.
from you, and then you're able to lend them.
Yes.
Yes.
Where are they being held at?
Mr. Manager,
So then, should they go to the sheriff's office?
if they, that would
They
be
can,
good.
but Commissioner Odena had allowed us, when we first initially got them, to let us store them in the precinct. So that's why
They're in the shed right now.
Yeah, they're in the shed.
Because I would think they would be better suited, if you're saying that the situation's already fixed and they can use it, I think it would be better suited to keep it at the sheriff's office, because it is
The
the,
first response.
yeah, first response of point of location. So that way you're not having to go to the judge's office or
I-
the commissioner.
I can check one out for fire, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
they can be checked.
Because sometimes at the solar panels, we gotta carry those backpacks when we walked in there.
Yes.
So that'll be helpful to put
You just-
the
Yes.
5 backpacks
So
on.
then, the commissioner had a good idea, can you put one at the fire station and one at the sheriff's office, that way
Yes.
there's 2 point of contacts at the first response buildings?
Yes. I think that, I don't have a problem with that.
And I'll be getting one also, we ordered.
Yeah, we got
That
one.
one today.
Once you get yours, we can let EMS or city, that's usually is.
So you have-
They can use.
But we ordered one. The one that I ordered, actually, if there is a call for EMS, something, I'll be able to get it, because it's gonna come built with, to carry a back or a patient on board, or a deceased body, we'll be able to carry on that.
And the one that I originally got has that, is equipped.
That's what I was gonna say.
So I was going to say, I think it'd still be a good idea to keep it just in case the sheriff's office is utilizing there, and then you have one as a backup, just in case, and if you guys are tied up or something like that, I'm pretty sure Commissioner Garfield is always in the mix as well, and then he would have one in his office, that way you kind of divide and conquer and cover areas.
Well, in hopes that we get an EOC later on down the road, we can house the.
Where's the old ATV? Former sheriff.
Is there?
Yeah.
Still
We
reading.
used it, we used it in Eagle Pass, it broke down, so we took it to Metro, they're gonna work on it.
So then you can move those.
Yes. We can move them today.
Motion,
Yeah, we have all in favor?
aye.
Any opposition? 4.2, discussion and appropriate action, approval to accept donation for 2018 price for 300 from the 293rd District Attorney's Office.
Judge, on this one, I had, Mr. Sedna asked if I had use for this vehicle. It belonged to his, person used it for DEA. He's no longer with him, and I got use for it. It's a good vehicle, running condition. There was some issues that were taken care of, they fixed it. I think the key fob was missing, they paid for that, it's replaced, and he just offered if we had use for it, which I do have in my department.
So moved.
I got a motion by Commissioner Noguera, a second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Just give me 1 second, Cheryl. I'm gonna, 3.23, the discussion appropriate motion for discussion and approval to act the policy of travel in the county handbook.
This was a policy that I put together with Mr. Ortiz. I think it fits, just so we have something in writing on the policy. I did state before that I feel that sometimes we have arguments and disagreements based on discussions, I guess. And I just think it's a good idea to add the policy to travel. I do know that this isn't the first time that it's come to Commissioner's Court. So if anybody, if not approved, if anybody has any critiques or any line items that you want us to take a look at, we're more than willing to be able to take any advice back to make sure that we make sure that it fits all of our.
Commissioner, this pretty much reflects what we're doing right now, right?
Yes.
I was gonna ask what was added.
Anything
What is
changed?
added to this?
Added?
We didn't have a travel, we didn't have one. And if I'm being,
Put it together, right?
if I'm being quite honest with you, we put it together and Oscar was the main source of assistance when it came to it. Again, I do feel that it is important that we incorporate a policy to the handbook because then we're always running into issues. So whether this be the first step or y'all guys are completely 100% in agreement with it, we can start talking about the next policy to add.
That's why I was asking you, this pretty much reflects the process we're following, right?
It pretty much does. Originally, I had started this, I don't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago, whenever that issue with their credit cards came up. That's when I had originally tried coming up with something like this. But it pretty much just outlines what we already do. It has our per diems, 15 for breakfast, 20 for lunch, 25 for dinner. It says you're only going to get the full day if you leave within a certain time, if that makes any sense, right? Like if you're only one Eagle Pass, it doesn't make sense for you to get everything. If that kind of makes sense. Or if your training ends at 12 and you're coming back from Eagle Pass, it doesn't make sense for you to get dinner. You know what I mean?
Right. But like if they leave at 6 in the morning,
They get breakfast.
they get breakfast
Yes.
because.
It says that if you have to leave before 8 to get to where
Yeah.
you need to go, then you'll get breakfast.
Okay.
And the same thing, if you're not gonna make it home before 5, then you'll get dinner.
Cool.
That's how it has to do with the meals, which is what we already do right now, right?
I
Mr.
think
Green?
it says, I think this one says 7 o'clock. If you get home before 7, you don't get dinner.
Right, with 7, I would change it to 5.
No, it's saying that if they're leaving from somewhere, they're gonna reach home at 7, therefore they get dinner. Does that make sense?
No, you have employee will
So
reach
you
home
get home
before
by
7
7,
p.m.
whatever time the class ends and the drive time calculates, and it's past 7, then you technically consider giving the dinner for that day as well.
Right, because the example was Houston.
I would say return by 5 p.m. because that's what the work day is, 5 p.m.
Right.
No.
But
It-
sometimes your
But your-
class ends.
But your language says 7 p.m.
No, it's,
Yeah.
dinner meal will not be paid on the last date unless the employee is on county business and unable to, oh, you're right, it does say 7.
Yes, so
In the 7, so it should be 5.
5.
It should be 5. Yes. I think what I was trying to say that if you get home at 7, that means you get
Yeah, no,
dinner.
I just
Right,
change
right.
it to reflect
To 5.
5 p.m.
To 5.
Correct.
Yes.
I see county credit card in here, so now we're allowed to use county credit card? We were never allowed to.
Yeah, we didn't have.
Well,
No.
in the past, people have
Oh, no.
people in the past have used a credit card to register for certain things. Right.
I know, on one fact,
I know the commissioner was big about it.
yeah, because
It's-
one of the things that, and it was paid by Irene Berger, remember? The credit card issue that I had at the hotel, they took $1,000 off for the first, not for the trip, and then supposedly something happened with my credit card, and then they pushed it again, so it was $2,000 that they took out, and then they were gonna swipe it again, and I said, no. And then you and I talked about it, so y'all paid for it, and then I reimbursed you the $1,000. That's the issue that I have right now, because I don't know if with the bank and their system, now they're not taking cash, they're using like the cards. I always have an issue with the credit card, my credit, or not the debit, whatever it's called. But sometimes it doesn't go through on their thing, and then they swipe it again, but it's going through over here, and it's docking $1,000. I don't have $1,000. You know, I have what you give me. So it's kind of hard for me to, where the bank to tell me you're overdrawn $1,000. So what do I do? And then I have to wait about 2 weeks to get the money back.
So that's why you need to take care of it with the hotel.
No. There's no excuse of me taking care of it with the hotel. The reason that I tell you is because there's that issue. And of course, you know, your financial is different than mine, but I can afford to be paying over and over, and then we're with a hotel. And I'm out of that money sometimes because.
Is there any way, Mr.
I'm just gonna say, the last time we used a credit card when we went to Austin,
No, I know, that's what I'm saying, and that's always been my argument, is because what's good for the goose is good for the gander, why can't we use it for certain people but not other certain people? Because some people, no, Mr. Pereira, because I'm not
Because
gonna.
I used mine too. I
Mr.
used mine for
Pereira,
the whole group.
I refuse to turn this commissioner's court into a circus. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's been times where we've booked, including myself, using the credit card of the county to book the room, and then when we check in, we use our own credit card. So what she's saying, Commissioner Rubalcaba is saying that we never do that, or we should be doing that, when we've never done
We
that.
should
But that's,
do- we should
but
do it.
that's incorrect statement, because it has been done in the
Well, we
past.
shouldn't do it either because I know that.
Because when we went to Austin, to the legislative conference, the rooms that were booked for every elected official
Yeah,
that
your
went
card.
to include myself was used on the county card to hold the room. And then when we got there, we had to use our own credit card. Yes, sir, that was the situation.
You were
And
so-
going back to what he said, it showed different people had different payments that they had to pay in their credit card. So just for the
No, because
sake,
everybody was the same. I checked. When I checked.
for the sake of,
Because I negotiated that contract.
for the sake of, I think for
negotiated
the
that.
sake of argument, if we can have the policy that dictates, because, I mean, other counties use credit cards. I mean, I've seen it, Commissioner,
Other
you've seen
counties
it.
have- each
They have,
commissioner
each
has a
commissioner
card
has their own
and
credit card. I mean,
Yeah,
we've seen it before.
And it holds you,
It holds you accountable because whatever's on that card is what you're gonna be paying, but of course, that's a decision that has to be made by the court. Here, it hasn't been done that way here in Dimmit County, and that's fine, we can continue not to do it that way, but what I'm saying is that Commissioner Rubalcaba is asking that there's a language in here regarding credit card, correct, Commissioner Rubalcaba?
Yeah, because this is the first time I've seen it. I didn't
Well,
know.
they do it because that's what
Yeah,
was the
but
policy.
the reason-
This is the first time I hear that they used a credit card to book their
They didn't
stay
use a
in
credit card. They didn't use it.
In
No.
Austin.
In Austin. This is the first time I
They
hear about that.
didn't use a
They
credit
made
card.
that clear.
They didn't use a
But
credit card.
that's
to
why
book
I'm
it.
saying, since when did we start using the credit card for?
Because we use credit card for law
They didn't use a
enforcement as
credit
well.
card to book in.
Yes.
We use
And the-
credit card
and
for
the
law
gas
enforcement.
and the food, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
for law enforcement, and that's not in this policy, so that needs to be added on here, because there's an exception that was made, I guess, in the past, that for law enforcement, they can use a credit card to book a room, to pay for food, to pay for mileage,
No,
but
the
it,
reason that they were used was because they didn't have enough time to put it up. Since we can't issue a check, and that's the thing that we told them. So we can pay for the hotel, and
so then
but
you
we will
would,
not pay
so
for the
that's what I'm
gas
saying,
and the
if
meals.
it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, because what your argument right now is moot, because what you're saying is that you can do it for this person because it's a last minute thing, but if Commissioner Carmona needed to last minute
So,
for
okay,
firefighters,
so in the future, we won't do it for anybody.
I mean,
you already did it.
but what I'm
no,
saying
we'll
is
do it
that we just need to
at
make
an
the
incident.
language here for
So,
it to be
in the future, they
applicable.
won't
Well,
be able to use it anymore.
why can't we use it, is my question.
Because the problem, for the simple reason that people do not bring in their receipts.
It's about responsibility.
Correct.
He's saying that he doesn't feel some people are equally as responsible as
So
others.
if you
In
don't
general,
get a
we don't want-
receipt,
no,
then
because-
aren't you liable to pay for it? The same way that the report came out, we all had to pay back. So if our receipts aren't there, then we have to pay for it, and that holds us liable because then we're gonna have to give you the money if we don't bring the receipt.
It keeps, when you do it on your own credit card, you keep up with when the due dates are to cancel or not cancel. This way, people in the past don't worry about canceling because it's on county credit cards, and we got to go back and chasing them to get the money back.
Okay, I got a question.
And that's what's interesting, when you walk to check in, a lot of hotels want the same credit card with which you reserved it.
It's just a random question. But what if, let's just say, they request the equipment from the county at that moment at another location for assistance on a HVAC, and it's clear the declaration. That means that they gotta pay the rooms, whoever the employees are over there that night or whatever, and it doesn't fall like under, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's just say they request equipment in the Laredo from the precincts, and the precincts obliged by helping out. Now, it's a large basic, like, just like this, what do you call it? This mop we're gonna have. Doesn't that require, like, us using the card at that moment since it's an emergency? Because they're gonna use also for
Why can't we
employees.
have, that's the only reason why we can't have cards.
I think we're getting a little off topic.
No,
I-
but it's legit because.
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
We're gonna have a mock here that's gonna
Yes.
cost financial.
Yes, no, I
We
understand what
have
you're saying.
people coming over, we have people doing this.
Right.
Now, let's just we're gonna have probably that discussion when
Right,
we
that's
have
another
the next meeting.
yes.
Well, then we're
But-
gonna have to discuss it there.
But the reason why the credit card portion is on this policy is because I know people
I can
at
get to the last
times
minute.
use the county card for their travels. Like, I know people have booked their even just registering for the classes online. Like, I know there's some, I think it was with the county card, just because they had to reserve by a certain date.
I honestly know as well, the county card has been used multiple times since I've been here in 4 months. We just cannot pick and choose on who we want to do it to and who we don't want to do it to, and this is the whole point of the policy. I don't think, and if I'm being quite honest with you, I do feel that each commissioner and judge should probably have their own credit card. Okay, but I mean, if it's not the case, or if you want to check out one, I mean, it don't really bother me. I can use mine or I can use the county. It's just that the option is there when we want to, and we can't always be doing that because then you're gonna be having the same arguments that we have in 16 years because there's no policy in place for it. So we need to make sure that we get on the same page and we follow the policy. So if we're not gonna be able to use credit cards, or we're gonna be able to when we can and not when we don't, then let's just write it in the policy.
Right, and that's not the point of this policy. It's just saying if you do use the card, then you have to bring back receipts. That's all it's saying.
So then in that situation, it would make it like if Commissioner Carmona came up to you and said, hey, like I really don't have the funds, can I use it?
I'm not in charge of dispersing the credit cards. That's
Okay, so then if Mr. Carmona comes and he says, hey, Mr. Perea, I really could use assistance with putting the thing on the thing, why? And then he pays for it when he gets
So
there.
they should be able to charge you a service charge.
Because they charge, hey, they charge a 15% of service charge.
And they charge 3 cents per caller, whatever it is.
I know, we're trying to get on the same page.
Yeah, no.
You're killing them,
You work with us, Perea.
I understand that,
you're
but that's
doing this.
why, yes,
No,
because it's in the, because of
So then,
experience in the
Oscar,
past.
You can say, well,
Because we've had
really
experiences in the past. where-
This policy right now states that if somebody needs to use the credit card,
This policy was just in place, what he was saying, it's just to say, if they use a credit card, you gotta bring them a receipt.
That's all it's saying.
This is
well,
all.
that's good then.
That's
What,
all
what
it's
do you,
Okay.
it's good. If you're gonna use the county credit card, bring a receipt.
That's it.
That's it. But
And you
he's
don't,
not letting you use
And
the
if
credit
you,
card.
and if you
That's the
don't,
thing.
and if you
But if the
don't,
policy says it, yeah.
yeah, and if you don't, then you have to pay and you bring us a sheet back of how much we owe,
So
and
this,
then we have to
this
pay.
policy right here is saying that if
Hold on.
we,
Okay,
we're
but it's not-
requesting to use the credit card, you're gonna allow us to use the credit card, we're just bringing back the receipts, and if we don't bring you back the receipts, then it'll be an
Right,
indebted to
right.
the county, and then the county elected official or personnel has to pay, and if they don't pay, it will result in an offset in the person's employee salary or official wages, we garnish the wages, very simple.
And he refuses charge?
Because
I'll find-
honestly, honestly, going back to his example, if he was saying that they charge them $1,000, and
Yeah, but then
but what if,
what-
for instance, that I'll use me for example, that I have to go to the same training that he has to go to, but I don't have a $500 hold in my account, I'm gonna cancel, because I can't afford to pay the $500 hold. How is that fair to
They don't
me?
do, and basically, the only one that does charge you the first one is Cal Card. Okay.
And we go there pretty often.
And they charge you if you
Don't
even,
go there.
they charge you even if you tap the chips and you don't buy them.
You're not going there anymore, but.
For
but
real,
then-
I gotta
but
pay
Why are we
something
going
like
there no more?
$58.
Because they're not gonna
Not even
do
gonna
it.
touch the chip,
Uh,
should have
why?
ate the chips at least.
Because it's too expensive.
Because I would've lost weight if I hadn't gotten
But what
my money back.
happens is, then we don't know what got charged, what he charged or didn't charge. And so we're the ones arguing on the credit card.
But
If
what
you-
if, what if
that's
the,
why-
what if the policy
If
as
in your
it reads?
case, you settle it with them, you know that you didn't stay 10 days or 5 days or whatever, whereas we don't, and then we have to be dealing with the hotel and clarifying everything. This way, everything has been clarified why.
So essentially, this is just to.
But
We don't
I wasn't,
know.
I
No,
was,
no, because
hold on.
We don't know what y'all.
as soon as I get there, I'm gonna leave. I see money coming, my tree doesn't produce that much money.
You want some fruit trees?
All right,
Okay.
let's move on.
So my whole thing is, it's read simple. Now, if it's a different thing, if we want to vote, it's the same thing as 3 votes for people that are going to travel, 3 votes in Commissioner's Court if they're not. It's the same situation. If you're going to allow them to use a county card, which has been in the past, then they have to bring you the receipt. If they don't bring you the receipt, then the elected official is responsible to pay that amount. And for situations like us, like Commissioner Talavantes, I went and took out a whole different credit card, so any of my travel gets put on one specific credit card. So I have the option, me and Commissioner have the option to use our own credit card, but Commissioner Carmona that wants to use a county card, why can't he use a county card if there's no policy or law in place that says that he can't?
This policy says he can.
He can.
So, my motion is to approve this policy.
With the exception of changing
With the-
return home at 5 p.m.
To 5,
Yes,
instead of 7.
with the correction.
I have a motion by
Second.
Commissioner, we have a motion by Commissioner Urenda, and I have a second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition?
And for the record, I do have mine. It's not like they start reading.
4.3, discussion and appropriate action approval to purchase 2 20-foot trailers under OPSG grant for $342,010.
This one, we were awarded 2 trailers from Operation Stone Garden, and I got 3 different quotes. Cheapest one would be the Big Texas trailers there out of Lidle, Texas.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Noguera. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Discussion of corporate action approval to purchase 1 20-foot trailer under OLS grant 4375-903.
This one also was awarded for that ATV that was awarded to us, purchased, and these are the same quotes that will be used for the same trailer.
Motion by Commissioner Urenda.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 4.5, discussion and appropriate action approval to purchase body worn cameras through body worn camera grant 4755-302.
So this grant requires a in-kind match. So the grant would cover $39,258, and then the sheriff would pay the difference out of his forfeiture of $16,836.
So the difference would come out of the forfeiture. And what was that amount, Ms. Rodriguez?
The grant would pay $39,258, and the forfeiture would be $16,836.
One more time, I'm sorry, 16 what?
836.
How many units?
15. One pipe.
How many more cameras will we need for all our deputies to have, or this will be enough for all our deputies?
This would be enough, and I think they would even have some left over. They would probably give to the constables.
Yeah, I know some of the constables, if they need one, I'll be able to let them use. Yeah.
Motion approved.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona, second by Commissioner Urenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Discussion and appropriate action approval to award inmate telephone system.
So this time, I believe we had the bids that came out after review, Mr. Pereira. We're looking into NCIC home contract.
Yes, Mr. Pereira was supposed to get with me, but we didn't have an opportunity to go over, the actual numbers, Mr. Pereira, so,
Well, I did do analysis, and basically NCIC was level with everybody else on the cost per minute, but they also provided the tablets for it's a system where they basically make their own tablets and they provide them to the inmates. So overall, NCIC Was a better company.
Commissioner, it's, for the calls, NCIC is, .09 cents. Video was 14 cents, text messaging 25 cents. Canada and Mexico 35 cents. Those were a little bit higher than the other individuals. Cuba 75 cents, other international 35 cents. With this, the tablets that are provided, Sheriff, that is already included in the price?
Yes. Well, actually, it'd be no cost to us, but that's just the cost of the inmates going out, but setting us up, there's no cost to us. They're also gonna provide a scanner where we can scan the mail, and the inmates will be able to actually review it in the tablets. We've been having issues with,
How many tablets are we getting?
depend on the inmates, the number of counts. If we have 96 inmates, we'll have enough for all the inmates.
But they won't have access to them.
No. What they do is in the mornings, they say if we put money into needed, they'll use it, and once it's done, they'll return it. They can actually get classes online on that, also their GED stuff, they can get it. One of the main issues we've been having was the mail going in, they're dipping them in liquid meth. That's what it gets, and for us, I mean, it's harder for touching, I was, it's up to the labs, they come back positive. This one, they'll be able to scan it, so the inmate won't actually get the mail unless it's attorneys, they'll get that.
I never heard of that before.
We're going to the lowest bid? That's not the lowest bid. It's the recommendation of the auditor and the.
But there's no cost in the bid, there's no cost, it's not costing us to get set up on any cost.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Talamantes. Second by Commissioner Odena, to approve the NCIC system, Sheriff. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Discussion of appropriate action, approval of open bids for remodeling of the dispatch at the sheriff's office. Sheriff, I've been advised that there was no.
Yes, I was gonna ask if we could re-advertise for that one. I had some other ones call me, but they weren't gonna be able to have it within a certain time. So I was gonna see if we could re-advertise.
So I'm gonna do no action, and then if we can just, put agenda item for the next one to approve to put for bids again.
Okay.
4.8, discussion and appropriate action, approval for jailers Pedro Olivares and Raul Valderas to attend the 2025 Texas Gang Investigators Association Conference in San Antonio, Texas, 22nd through the 27th.
Morning, Judge.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This class also, Judge, was recommended by Texas Commission on Jail Standards. We could send at least 2 to get for the increase of the gangs.
Also from the marshals too. The advisement who was in charge of that gang affiliated, they'll put 2 in charge. It also will help us to pacify them and put them in a proper housing.
Did we do the budget adjustment already?
Yes, ma'am, I did. Yes, ma'am. We'll be having a lot of training due to adjustments in jail standards, and the marshal wants us to do more training. So I'll be sending some officers for training. The training's in San Antonio.
Are they driving back every day, or are they gonna stay?
No, they'll be staying there for a whole week. They'll be staying there.
Motion to approve. We got a motion by Commissioner Noguera. Second by Commissioner Odena. All in favor?
I abstain, Judge. On Pedro Olivares.
We have one abstention, which is Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Motion still carries. Thank you. 4.9, discussion appropriate action, just status. Ms. Montes, your report.
I did return it, it was from last time that we couldn't match the amount, and I advised you that you didn't want me to say the amount, but they should have it already.
For what? Ms. Montes?
For the marshals?
Oh, the new amount that we're gonna get.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have that, I think Mr. Pereira's office is gonna get it.
I can put it in the next commissioner's report.
Yeah, 'cause I don't have that.
Right now, we're still on training with with the officers. We are submitting everything, all the training to the Texas Jail Commissioner Jail Standards.
And that new amount, we'll get that, you'll get that to me?
Yes, ma'am.
And then we'll give it a Pereira, so we'll put it on the agenda, so Commissioner's Court can approve it. It's an increase, Commissioner, we'll look up, so they're gonna pay us more money. But we can't put it up.
No.
Well, not that, we're still waiting,
Which
We
one?
haven't received
for the
that.
increase of margin, we're still waiting for Mr. Pereira.
Oh, well, which one are you talking
The
about?
budget, the marshal,
The budget,
no.
is the amount what they paid
The
last month?
yes.
Well, we
For
received
the
from the
marshal,
market.
for the marshals.
Or your monthly report.
Monthly report, yes, I'm sorry, it was like, the
Yeah,
monthly report.
The other amount, Sheriff, I'm talking about is the increase in the paying.
Yes, I'm gonna, still working with Mr. Pereira, and I wanna get the final, it's a lot of information we gotta put up there, and we're working on that once we can send it off. So once we get it, I can send it off. But yeah, I spoke with Marshall, they're waiting for that paperwork, so it can help us out and increase it.
Motion to table. Is that what it is? Under jail status? Motion to table.
I got a motion to table by Commissioner Alonso Carmona.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Odena. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion and appropriate action, approval for County Treasurer Oscar Ortiz to attend the 2025 Legislative Conference, August 27th, 29th in Austin, Texas. Motion by Commissioner Noguera, second by Commissioner Talamantes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 5.2, discussion and appropriate action for County Treasurer Oscar Ortiz to attend the 77th Annual County Treasurers Association Conference, September 15th through 18th in Sugar Land, Texas.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Second. Second by Commissioner Talamantes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 5.3, discussion and appropriate action, approval of cybersecurity course enrollment for the county.
This is just so that we can take our required cybersecurity course through TAC. And so everybody will be notified to take it
So it'd be for county employees.
for county employees.
Yes,
Correct.
Motion by Commissioner Talamantes.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 5.4, discussion of appropriate action, budget adjustment number 22 between the jail department. Motion by Commissioner Noguera.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. In favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 5.5, the cleaning docket, general fund, $1,031,102.14. Dimmit County Airport, $45.02. Dimmit County Golf Course, $3,169.02. Courthouse security, $14,383. Records management, $2,739.02. $99.42.99. Stock garden, $69,810.99. Operation will start 2022, $107,826.03. Dimmit County payroll, $654,712.52. Tax note series 23, $8,570. COs 2019, $85,662.40. SB 22, $214,202.87 for a grand total of $2,318,207.05.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona. Second by Commissioner Odena. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? We have one abstention, Commissioner Noguera stepped up. I will entertain a motion to recess and adjourn the regular meeting.
So moved.
That is Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Odena. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. I am going to call the meeting to order at 12:40 for the public facilities. Let the record reflect that all parties are still present. We do have a quorum. Approval of minutes of regular meeting April 28, 2025.
Motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Talamontes,
Second.
second by Commissioner Odena. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. 2.1, discussion of corporate action, new business. If there's no new business, no action. 2.2, discussion and appropriate action, motion to approve or relieve Dimmit County responsibilities of any improvements to HVAC in Border Patrol hangar area.
Yeah, basically what it reads, the Border Patrol Station wants to add and install a AC in the hangar, to convert it. They want to install it. I was looking because I know that me and Mr. Perea have been, going back and forth on the issue. It is in the contract to approve. What the agents are hoping to accomplish is to try to just get the ball rolling, because they're applying for funds, and I may be mistaken, but to my understanding, they're applying for funds to be able to make this renovation and this upgrade. But there is a set amount of time that they have to be able to do it and use the funds. So we wanted to put it through Commissioner's Court to see if we can approve it that way. So basically, the responsibility would be the same as the building in the back. Any addition that they do to the facility relinquishes the county for liability or maintenance on that unit.
Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Odena. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Financial 3.1, discussion of appropriate action, budget adjustment number 23 between Public Facility Board Patrol Department.
Judge, so we did need a budget amendment to be done. I know that sometime back when I first started on the facility, what our course of action was to get the AC up and running before summer, dead of summer. So we did do that. The repairs have been done. There was about 3 POs that I had gotten for the facility. The parts that were placed are up and running now. For transparency reasons, the AC is still not running at 100% capacity. We still have a few more bid proposals that we're going to go through to see what we're going to do. But as for right now, we're going to move. Mr. Perea recommended 60,000.
I think it showed this kind of looks like a 50, but I guess he changed it to a 60. 60 to 60?
60,
right?
yes, it is 60.
But again, for transparency reasons, there probably will be another budget adjustment here done once we're all on the same page of what repairs we're going to make to the facility. I do have the work orders or anything that anybody might want to see, the report of why the account went over budget. I got a printout so you can see everything that was charged. Anybody want to see that? I'm more than willing to share.
So there was no overcharges?
No, there was no overcharges, just what was from the original amount that you gave me. I got a report of exactly where that money went to. So there's a report there of exactly the beginning stage of 60,000.
These are the ACs.
The train, everything that says train is AC.
So you're removing money to replace, I'm sorry, I wasn't here.
No, you're fine.
the ACs or to repair the ACs?
Those are to repair the AC, so we got 3 POs and we replaced 3 of the different units. And that's what kind of put me over. I did know that I was gonna go over when we got these POs from the judge's office, but me and Mr. Pereira were at a rate where we decided to just try to get what we needed to get done because of the summer days coming up, so that's what we did. But this is just a report of everything that the $60,000 recovered that's no longer there because I'm overdrawn.
Commissioner, I have a question. So this adjustment is basically to cover the AC repairs, correct?
Yes, and there is still more to come.
So my question is, are we going straight to train and saying, hey, how much are you gonna charge me, or are we getting bids?
No. So you're not going straight to train. So what I'm doing is I'm getting, there was a few work orders that, that needed to get done from when, prior to me coming in. We started working on those. Any quote that they give me, I always talk it over with the station. We try to decipher where that issue is happening, if it's something that needs to be repaired. And then from there, we make that decision. Me and Mr. Pereira had gotten on the same topic as well and said that in the situation that an entire whole AC unit needs to be replaced, we feel that at that moment, it would be smart for us to go out and price check during that situation. We're just not at that situation yet because these are repairs that the ACs just need. But I do try
So
to
do you
cross.
recommend that we should just replace the whole system instead of continuously putting money into repairing?
I feel like the system has never run at 100% capacity, so when one part goes down, it affects the other parts of the things.
So would it be more financially sound if we just had maybe different vendors go out there and give you quotes as to how much it would cost to repair the whole system instead of having to make you continuously do budget adjustments because we're putting in so much into the repairs?
So, replace, I would say yes. If we want to, before moving forward and before getting any other POs for repairs, I can appease the court by going out and getting a price check of what the entire would cost, but I think it would be pretty costly compared to what we're.
Yeah, because basically what these are,
It's just like putting a Band-Aid, right, over it?
Well-
Well, we're replacing, not repairing. We're replacing parts.
The ACs.
ACs are 20 years old and from, right?
That's what I'm saying, and we're just wanting.
It's better to, I mean, I'm
But-
just.
but these aren't
but
the-
it's better
okay.
to replace it.
but what they're working on is the diagnostic components. It's
The
not,
diagnostics is already complete.
but these, whenever going,
Commissioner, because the two gentlemen over here agree with me, I thought we had already done a diagnostic with Commissioner Kwong was here, so.
Okay, so yes, you are 100% correct, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush, because I probably should have caught this as well. But we also did come and get the PO approved for the diagnostics to be done. So whenever I first got in, I asked for a complete diagnostics of the entire system, which we did get the PO from the judge's office, and we got the diagnostic done. The reason for the diagnostic was to be able to make sure that we knew all the repairs that needed to be done before budget time came again this summer. When we started looking at some of the repairs, to my understanding, and this is just hearsay because I don't have any paperwork, I haven't looked at minutes or anything. What I found out when the training inspector came down, he told us and informed us that the diagnostic had been performed prior to Commissioner Carmona leaving and that it was done. They ordered all the parts for all the repairs, but then something happened, and I'm not gonna put words in anybody else's mouth, something happened that work was never completed. So whenever I came in, I did another diagnostic checks, and that's the quotes that I have right now.
The diagnostic check that you did was with Train as well?
Yes.
So Train was willing to take our money twice,
Well-
knowing that they had already done? To me, that sounds
Where are the
bad
parts?
business,
No.
Mr. Pereira.
The
Not-
parts were
Yes, because
returned.
if Train
no,
had
but let me
already.
explain. The problem was that when Juan did it, it opened up, and then that's when they were able to see what was not being communicating with the air conditioners, and that's what the second part was done.
Yes, yes, and Mr. Pereira is right. So when they did the first diagnostics, they decided that the main issue that they were having was the communication panel, which Judge Ponce was in the works with getting that done.
So whenever you got the communication panel, that's all that was repaired from that diagnostics. From that first initial diagnostics, I do not know when, what month, how far back y'all did it. But from that initial diagnostics, the control panel was upgraded. So the control panel was gonna be able to communicate with all the ACs in the facility to see what was going down and what parts needed to be replaced. That was all that was done with that diagnostics. Now, when I did get the second diagnostics, they're saying that Trent decided to charge us 2 times. I think that there was a certain amount that passed because some of the issues that we were having wasn't even listed in the first diagnostic that they had did. And so he said it's just safe to do a second diagnostic so that way we can make sure that everything is done. I went ahead and I requested it and I did get the second diagnostic. And honestly, as anybody in a management position, it was smart for me to get that second diagnostics because I don't know what was in prior to me being here. I do know that they said that the AC is probably around 20 years old. I could be wrong on that number too. I'm not too sure. But I also know that there was no maintenance or upkeep with the ACs inside. We're even dealing with leaks right now. We're dealing with leaks inside the facility, outside the facility. So something as basic as cleaning the ACs, the maintenance was never upkept for us to say.
Commissioner, right there at that point that you just stated, I've been explaining this to Mr. Pereira and to the judge and to the last budget hearing that we had. We're gonna continue dumping money into our HVAC systems until we find our own maintenance person.
Well, and the thing that they had said, that
And who verifies?
they,
There's nothing, we don't have our own HVAC person to go verify that work is actually performed. We're just writing checks and sending them to whoever it is that's charging.
and, I mean, I agree I agree on some extent, yes, that's anything that's highlighted is true. I have to go look at the piece, I don't have it in front of me. I have the things, I'm all for going and getting a quote. If y'all guys want me to go get a quote to see what it's cost to repair the entire AC, I will get a quote to see what it costs to repair the entire AC.
My question was about the quote because of the amount of money we continue.
But I would say, I do know where you were getting at that. The thing that they have been trying to sell us is a service agreement. The service agreement would hold them liable to any parts if they don't catch it within the time. And also it does include some free perks, but they said that they've never been able to get the shoe in for the service agreement. So I would agree with Commissioner Uranda on some extent.
It was astronomical, the amount was crazy, what they proposed. I said, is that a nice word?
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy, the amount that they proposed
And that was
was
something
like,
that Commissioner Juan was not recommending to us when he brought it the last time because it was an astronomical amount in what they wanted to charge for a service agreement.
And I think it is.
And on top of that, it was a service agreement, but every time they would get a call out, they would still charge us for that call out. So essentially it was having to pay double. But I think the best course of action is that we, and again, I'm one vote, but that we suggest that you get different quotes to see what it will cost in its entirety. It doesn't mean we're gonna approve it, just to see how much it costs in its entirety from different vendors to replace the entire system, because if you're saying they're 20+ years old.
And are they 20 plus?
I don't think so. I think they were supposed to change it before we took over. But one of the things that we were discussing is whenever there is a replacement that needs to be done, that we were going to go back and get somebody else to do, to get quotes, to replace somebody, another company to replace it, not Trent.
I'm saying she can go and get different quotes from different vendors to include Train. We're not saying we're going
But
to
also-
Train, but other vendors to see how much it'll cost for her to replace the entire system in terms of getting the new AC units. Because essentially right now what we're doing is just putting a Band-Aid on it for as long as we can.
I wouldn't necessarily say a Band-Aid, so to speak, because you're replacing parts, not repairing parts. And I can't speak from beforehand.
I don't need to get out of track on the agenda, but that's what's happening here. I told the tech, and I called the company, and kind of gave them an earful. But it's like, you come and check the air conditions. You see that the belts are loose. You see that the gears are going out on a motor. And you can't take care of that when you come. The first time you come, knowing that you're gonna come back it's just another service charge and it's another increase on everything. And that's what I'm trying, that's what I told the young lady when I talked to her.
And I would say,
And that is a fact that as a mechanic, if you see a belt wobbling, you're gonna tell that person that owns whatever it is, hey, your bearings are acting up or you got a loose belt. Why does it take for the air conditioner to go down again and say the motor got hot because the belt is loose? You saw it the first time.
Job security.
I know, and honestly, because I was able to hold them accountable, I was able to hold Tron a little bit, I was able to hold Train accountable because.
We have our own technician that can do maintenance on all, put on a rotating system and be, perform maintenance on all their HVAC. But then when something major goes down, he can actually verify, you know, and we've been through.
I agree with that.
Where everybody understands that a HVAC, certified HVAC person that knows how to read a voltmeter and use his equipment, they can do most, and a lot of times, most of these things are minor. It could be a capacitor, it could be something small. But because we don't have the person to address it, we request that the unit be working and works harder, and then something bigger happens.
I would tend to agree that yes, you are right. It would be a good idea for us to get, if not somebody to maintain and run our AC units, if not a consultant that we can be able to consult with, I don't know, on a monthly basis or something, or as per issue comes up. I was able to hold Train accountable because I had already gotten the diagnostics. They came out and they replaced the part, and exactly what Mr. Carmona is saying, that they come out and they replace some one part, and then there's another issue that arises, and technically those technicians won't work on those issues because it's not a work order. And then if it's not a work order, they'll leave it there. I did get a call last week at the public facilities that there was a part that they replaced, and when they replaced the part, there was another part that had failed. Well, since it wasn't included in the diagnostics that I ran, I argued with them and told them that that should have been something that they caught when we did the diagnostic of the complete system. So they went ahead and they repaired the part free of charge because it's something that they should have caught. That's where it kind of helps me a little bit to have the diagnostic run on it. Keep in mind, you're asking me to go get quotes. I'll go get quotes. I will 100% go do it to be able to satisfy the court. But when I had a quote for the Border Patrol, for the gym in Big Wells, it was $500,000, and I got shot down 10 different ways. That one is not enough money, too much money to use. So it's like I'm not really pleasing anybody in that scenario, in that situation. But by all means, if the court wants me to go get quotes, I'll go get quotes. I'm just anticipating y'all guys for what happens.
I just want to make sure that we take care of our tenant, which is you as Border Patrol Customs, because we make revenue off of that facility.
And that's why I would say, I would continue on the track that we're on, because if we do change out the AC units, we would have to do it pretty rapidly and pretty quickly. I think that the track that me and Mr. Pereira were on, in the situation that an entire AC unit goes down, then at that point will we talk about going with a different vendor to price check. But again, if the Border Patrol Station, it's not cut and dry, guys. It's a lot more complicated than what it is. And when things haven't been maintained or upkeep, that's why we're running into the situation. But I am going to do my best to make sure that I'm transparent and I inform the court on exactly what's going on the process of it. So if you want to, I will do it. If not, that's what's been spent from the $60,000. If anybody has any questions, if not, I can take that back.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll entertain a motion to do the budget adjustment.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Rivera, second by Commissioner Rubalcaba. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Public safety, loan docket, $4,599.58.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona, second by Commissioner Rubalcaba. All in favor?
Aye.
I will entertain a motion to recess and adjourn the public facilities.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Alonso Carmona,
Second.
second by Commissioner Urenda. All in favor?